All right. Hey, everyone. What's up? It's me, Zane, from the band Carney. That's a phrase I like to do on my live Twitch streams. But it's so nice to have Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and I think Periscope as well watching. Hello, everyone. Hey, I see my mom is here, Marty Heil. I see Rocket's here. I see Laura's here. I'm really excited about this stream, everyone. So my name is Zane Carney, and today we are going to talk about how to become and be a successful live streaming musician. I have partnered with Sam Ash on this clinic, this masterclass, and I've spent about the past 10 months really sinking my teeth into how to get this right. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of dive right in. We'll get started. This is gonna be about, I'd say it's going to be about a 75 to 90 minute stream, after which we're going to have a Q&A section. So about 75 to 90 minutes of this is going to be the masterclass itself, and then we're going to go right into answering questions from people. So if it seems like I'm annoying, or not annoying, not addressing, avoiding is the word, the chat, it's because I'm looking to you, I'm looking to the stream, I'm trying to actually make sure this is all very clear. There's going to be music playing in the background, which you'll be hearing. That's all going to be my music, either the music I created with my pal Tommy King, we have a film score partnership, or it'll be my song you heard to start off this stream, which is the debut single off my upcoming jazz record, which is called Alter Ego. So yeah, you'll be hearing music throughout this in the background while I hopefully am helpful. And we're going to dive right in here. Hey, look at that graphic. Fancy. Okay, so today we're talking about how to be a successful live stream musician. Success can be defined in many ways, and I want to start off by addressing 3 W's. You know when people say the when, the where, the how, the why, etc.? We're going to address 3 W's. We're going to get 2 whys. We're going to get 1 where. Okay, so the first why is going to be, why am I giving this masterclass? I don't know. See you guys later. Just kidding. Why am I giving this masterclass? This is a very, very important subject to me, and I'll tell you why. So if someone's out there and they want to get into live streaming, they want to get into producing their own art, their own material, and they want to have the tools to do so, there are a couple ways doing this. So you can go to YouTube, you can spend a few days. If you're like me, you can spend a few weeks or months. It's almost been a year and I'm still learning. Or you can just stick around for 75 to 90 minutes and I'll give you everything you need to just get up and running, right? You're going to be improving as you go on, but I want to give you everything you need to get up and running right now, okay? I'm reading what I wrote, but later on we're going to get into some stuff where I'm not staring at the screen. But I want to say, if you want the craziest streaming rig imaginable, I highly implore you to go to YouTube, to go to Google, and to search. So everything I say today, you can Google, you can write down on a notepad, and you can go search it, and you can upgrade and improve on what we're talking about today. I encourage that, because if you're serious about getting into the live performance in a digital space, you're going to need to do research at some point. Today will get you started. Today will make sure you're up and running. So why am I giving this masterclass? Let's continue here. So I really care about the musical community. I care about my friends, some of who I see are in chat right now, who are talking through Facebook and through YouTube and Twitch. We've all been through a really challenging time, every human being on planet Earth. And as I think most musicians and athletes who are not ultra professional athletes and ultra famous musicians, a lot of us are going, what do we do? And we're going to be the last ones to get back into this space. So I thought giving this masterclass would help me, because I can forward this video to any musician friend who wants to get started. And you honestly, you'll be able to get started at the end of this video, maybe halfway through even. So also, another reason why I'm doing this masterclass is by creating this setup for yourself, you'll be giving yourself all the tools you need to grow your music career in different areas. So it's sort of like what a lot of us musicians have learned when we sight read. I think, I don't want to sight read. That's boring. I'm never going to have to read music. I'm not even good at it. But those of us who have sight read, we know that it improved our improvisation. We know that it improved our singing. It improved our songwriting. So working on this live streaming setup, imagine what you can do in a non-live streaming scenario. If you can live stream, which is pretty much, as you'll find out, the hardest thing you can do, we're going to make it easy. But it is a challenging process of learning that I'm going to pass on to you and make super simple. But it helps the rest of your life. It helps the rest of your career. So long story short, in this space, when you're live streaming, you are everything. You are the technician, you are the mixing engineer, you are the songwriter, you are the performer, You are the promoter. I mean, not really. There's so many hats you're wearing. And as most of us musicians can agree, it's hard enough wearing one hat. I mean, look at this dumb one. So you're everything, tech person, etc. So that's why I'm giving this masterclass, so that you can take that off your plate. I love technology. I love math. I love science. I love learning. I love staying curious. This is fun for me. I know for a lot of musicians it's not. So here we go. It's easy. That's why I'm doing it. That's the first why. And we nailed that first try. Okay, but why? This is the second why. But why talk about this? Okay, cool. So that's why you're giving the masterclass. Well, who cares? So here are 3 points. So why would you even want to stream as a musician right now? You might be saying, "This is stupid. I don't want to be involved. I want the shroud, the mystery." I get that, and there is totally a space for that, and you are entitled to that, and I support that. But let me give you 3 reasons. But why? But why now? So number 1. The pandemic has created a craving for live music experiences like never before, and yet live entertainment is going to be the last thing to come back. Meaning we're going to probably have a few months to a year until we're doing normal performing. Maybe in 3 to 6 months we'll do some socially distanced concerts, outdoors. But I think before what's going to happen before things are fully back to normal is a gradual increase. So we might not really be playing gigs as much as we used to. We might not be doing 5 to 7 dates a week on tour, okay? So number 1, why even stream as a musician right now? But why even stream as a musician? Well, people really want music. And streaming now means feeding our musical souls while scratching a very real itch for so many isolated people out there. So you can almost see this as a badge of honor. You're giving a service to people who are craving live experiences. There's something about watching a YouTube video and watching a movie that doesn't quite do it for us right now. We're craving real interaction. And we as artists, as musicians, we are most of us very adept and skilled at connecting. That's number 1. But why even stream as a musician? Number 2? Well, every bit of streaming know-how you're going to develop in this quick masterclass is going to help you with all aspects of your musical endeavors, including remote masterclasses. So this might not even be about streaming for you. Virtual lessons, recorded press interviews, pre-recording them, distance recording sessions, okay, etc. So a lot of things you're going to learn now by doing the hardest thing, which is learning how to live stream. You're going to be doing so many other things so easily. When someone calls you and says, "Man, I need a bass part for that session," you go, "Oh, I literally live streamed something much harder yesterday with 18 million screens. Yeah, I think I can hop on Zoom with you and send you audio. I think we're good." Number 3, but why even stream as a musician right now? Okay, online experiences, in my humble opinion, are here to stay. I think we already knew that for the past 20 years, but right now we're really seeing, okay, this is something real people want. So whether or not the world is moving about, now is the perfect time to develop this skill because we can't perform live. This is a great time to do it. Think of this as a way to be productive in this time if writing or other artistic expressions feel dry because of the challenges of being in lockdown. I have a lot of friends who say, "It's been 10 months, I still am not enjoying writing." I say, all right, well, busy yourself with learning how to live stream. You'll feel productive. And then when the world opens back up, you'll say, not only can you come to my concert and do a VIP thing, but once a month, you and I can hop on Patreon and you can hear me playing my instrument, my duduk or my harp. You can hear me perfectly, crystal clear audio, because I already learned how to do it for my streaming. So these are my 3 reasons of why everyone should consider streaming as a musician right now. It's not even necessarily about the streaming, Pandemic, people want live music really badly. You can give that to them. 2, every bit of streaming know-how you're learning now can be applied elsewhere. And then these online experiences are here to stay. So in the future, when the world opens back up, you got this in your back pocket, So those are my arguments for that. So first try, bye-bye. Okay, 3rd thing, where are you going to do this? You're going to do it at my house, all right? This is over, we're done. Come on down. Just kidding, socially distanced, got it? So where are you streaming from? Where? Okay, so we got 2 whys here, but where are you going to do this? This is something that's very important to address right now before we dive into the how. So if you have a studio, you're done. Congrats. Can I come by when things open up? Thank you. If you don't have a studio, but you have a practice space where you can make music whenever you want or during certain hours, also congrats, you're done. But if you're like most people out there and you don't have access to a studio or a practice space where you can make noise, okay, fear not, because most music streamers don't have that. So if you're watching this masterclass right now, you're probably a professional musician, or you want to be a professional musician, and you've developed songwriting, you developed performance, live stage all these skills. There are a lot of people streaming music right now who started 5 years ago because it was fun. They thought, this is just fun. I love music. I'm having a good time. I have a day job. I'm streaming. And some of these people have become full-time musicians because their streaming took off so much. So what's the point I'm getting at? These people didn't come with a recording studio. They didn't come with a backup. I read Tal's comment. I want to be a professional musician. We know you are, Tal. So you have, they don't have a right space, right? They might have roommates. They might be in a house. They're in a shared space. So my hunch is that most people watching this are already either professional musicians or wannabe. And what I'm trying to say is that the streamers who stumbled into this music streaming thing, some of them, a lot are professionals too, but some of them who stumbled in and, wow, this is my new job, they've hacked the process. They've figured out how to make this happen, okay? So just know, while you're watching this, know that you can make this work from anywhere, pretty much anywhere. Actually, anywhere. If you're willing to do two things. One, set a schedule for when you can make noise. That's if you have roommates and stuff. So set a schedule. We'll talk about this later. This will help your streaming anyway. Or two, if you're willing to get creative with what your music stream can be. Does your stream have to be concert? No. Does your stream have to be what some of us have experienced, sometimes it feels like busking almost? No, it doesn't have to be that. Nope. It can be a lot of different things. Heck, you could be the Chill Beats live looping streamer. I just came up with that. There's so many things you could do that could set you apart from others while allowing you to make music in a living room, that's shared with other roommates. This thing right here has been helping me, the aux box. I can play music very late, very loudly, in a studio that was never intended to be a full-on isolated recording studio. My space was intended to be a fun place to write songs, to have co-writing sessions, to do production sessions and meetings, to rehearse with a band, to store my gear. I mean, there were so many things here. When the pandemic hit, I thought, I probably should have invested a lot of money soundproofing it, but I didn't, because most of my life was on tour, and here we are. Well, something like this saves the day, all right? By the way, that light is going to keep going on and off because it is broken, and we'll also talk about that, like things break during stream, okay? So... what was I going to say? I think that's a great idea, P Black. If a mod wants to change me to just chatting, feel free to do so. Okay, so what was I going to say? So there are many different types of music streams. Doesn't have to be all just online. Yeah, we'll dive more into that later. Okay, so now we've covered the 3 W's. Why? But why? And where? And that's good acting right there. That's what I paid a lot of money for, to become that good at acting. Just kidding. Let's go into the how. How are we going to do this? Oh, we're going to do these 3 things? Great. Have a great night, all. See you later. Just write those down. You're good. Bye-bye. 3 things. Very simple. We have to do 3 things. 1, we have to create an inviting environment. We try to make people feel like they're here with us. It was the perfect time for the music to do what it did. We want them to feel like they're part of the show. They're here, like at a real concert. What's the downside of this? 0. And you can do that with a lot of different types of cameras, a lot of different types of audio gear. We'll get into that. 2, we got to make the tech work for us. A lot of us as musicians are not tech savvy. Again, I love calculus. I love astrophysics. I love science. So I spent literally close to 1,000, if not more than 1,000 hours researching everything from encoding specs, H.264 versus H.265 to X.264 encoding versus hardware. We'll get into it, and I'll simplify it for you. I love this stuff. Most musicians, not so much. So we have to make the tech work for us versus being bound by it, and we can't get anything done, and then we give up. So that's our second step. Our third thing is going to be connecting with our audience. So if we can do these 3 things, my experience, we will become successful music streamers. I've seen this on Twitch. I've seen this on YouTube. I've seen this on Facebook. Heck, I've even some people become successful music streamers through Instagram Live, but we'll talk about the pros and cons about different platforms later. So, 3 things today. We have to create an inviting environment. We have to make our tech work for us, and I'll make that hopefully pretty simple. And 3, we want to connect with our audience. Because again, otherwise it's just a YouTube video. We want to connect with them. So, let's freaking dive on in. Let's create an inviting environment. Do you guys like my slideshow that I manually slide? Thanks, great. How do we create an inviting environment? So there are a couple things. First off, what space are you in? So this is something you're gonna do in your own time. Think about it. Do you have a bedroom? Do you have a living room? Do you have a home? Do you have a studio? Whatever it is. What space are you in and how can you frame that? So for me, I have a space that I'm very fortunate, and I realize that I have guitars, I have all these things. You might not have that. You might have some fun DVDs. You might have a rubber band ball that you put here that's colorful. You might have a Rubik's Cube, because maybe you're into that, and maybe people watching go, what's wrong with this person? You might have a guitar slide. You might have a guitar slide collection. I don't know what you have. You might have some rubber bands because you're super into magic tricks like I am. I don't know what you're into. So making sure your framing is engaging and inviting. It makes people feel like, oh, I wish I could grab through there and pick up that guitar. I wish I could hang out with them. For most people, that might be a nice bookshelf, you know? Maybe it has a plant on it. It could be having stools in the background and then you sit on the stool. There are so many ways you could do this. My experience is if you are an engaging person, which as a musician you are, but you're not capturing it, people will not know it. So it's sort of like when you take a photograph of yourself on your phone from underneath, a bad angle and the lighting's terrible and you go, oh, this is awful. This is not how I look. It's right. It's not how you look. So we got to make sure you look as good as you can. So really pay attention to the framing. If it's just a white wall, that could work, or a brown wall, that could work. But if you're able to pepper it with something that makes people feel like they're there with you, it'll psychologically make them feel like they're present at a real concert, okay? And again, you might not be a concert streamer. We'll talk about that. Okay, so you're creating your inviting environment. All right, so the next thing is, what instruments are you using? Well, let's open this back up so we know what we're on. Are you playing the harp? Are you playing the oboe? Are you playing the recorder? Are you playing a guitar and singing at the same time? Piano and singing? Well, all these things matter. If you're playing piano and singing, I've seen plenty of streamers have a camera overhead, seeing their hands, and then a camera on their face. And we'll talk later about what kind of cameras you can use. You already have the cameras you need is my point, but we'll talk about that. So, you got your camera overhead, whatever it is, you're using your keyboard. If it's guitar, you might want to have a camera angle on your right hand or left fretboard. I don't know. Depends on what kind of streamer you are. Again, you're trying to create an inviting environment. Now, for me, my aesthetic, I like, fun little trinkets. I like wearing old clothing mixed with new clothing. So I like that. I like that there's some electronic equipment there. I like that there are retro video games back there. I like there are sparkly guitars because I like pizzazz, right? This is what I like. You have a different thing for what you like, maybe. I've seen streamers who are super metal, and metal people love watching the dunking. You're like, wow, how did your hands move that fast? So a lot of metal guitar streamers have their fretboard and just one fretboard camera, and it's stable somehow, right? They have a GoPro. I don't know what they're doing. For me, that wouldn't work for my aesthetic. Mine's more about blurring the lines between new and old and making you feel like we're close friends because I feel that we are. So watching the minutia of the fretboard, that might be a more technical stream. But if that's inviting for you and you want people involved in that process, go right ahead. So really just think about these things while you're creating this inviting environment. Think about what would feel inviting to you. What would make you feel like you wanted to go through that stream and hang out with them? And then try to create that on your end, right? So, which instruments? Okay, so now we're gonna get into some technical stuff, okay? And I'm gonna change settings. So another thing about making our environment inviting is having great audio and great camera stuff. And again, we're gonna talk about how to simplify this. This section right now is gonna be about 20 minutes. It's gonna get tech intensive. I would highly recommend reviewing the VOD after or taking notes right now. I'm going to specifically be helping you on a Mac computer, and we can talk a little bit about how to do it on a PC as well, but I'm guessing most musicians are Mac users. So let's dive on in. Okay, here we are. So we are now on a monitor on my computer. Now I have all the audio stuff playing through. You can see green lines going up and down. Over here, the Mac audio line is the music you're hearing. My voice is this right here. Over here is my other vocal mic, which we'll get to in a second. So how are we gonna get this thing running? Well, if you wanna invite people as a music streamer, the audio is the number one thing, So we gotta make sure this is dialed in. Now I'm using a Universal Audio Apollo 8P and an Apollo Twin. You might have an Apogee. You might have a Scarlett. There's Focusrite. There's so many things. You might have a Go XLR, I think is what it's called. It's for streamers, and it's on your desk. There are many ways of doing this, okay? But straight up off the bat, we got to get this Mac audio into whatever console you have. So I'm using Universal Audio Console, right? How am I going to do that? So if you're on a PC, you use what's called an ASIO driver, and you're able to route things differently. I'm going to pause the music for a sec because we're getting deep into audio. What I've heard most musicians struggle with, including myself, is when I have the mic, it's plugged in, and when I go into stageit.com or I go into Twitch, I can't, or in OBS, I don't see nothing. That's because your audio is not routed properly. And I've also heard people say, oh man, visual stuff's so much easier to handle. Yeah, of course it is, because visual stuff cancels other things out. Watch this. If I were to take my screen and zip, oh, now I'm bigger. So if I change this visual thing, it takes over what other visual elements there were. Whereas audio, you are mixing, you are blending. So adding a photo on top of another photo means you don't see the photo beneath. Adding a guitar on top of voice means you hear both, and we got to make sure it sounds right. So audio is definitely the trickiest part of setting up your stream. We're going to make it simple now. I hope so. So if you're on a PC, Google ASIO driver, and you'll do it that way. If you're on a Mac, like most of us are, you want to get into audio MIDI setup right away. Audio MIDI setup. You just go up to your search bar, type in audio MIDI setup, and it opens this app. Audio MIDI setup. See right here? So in here, the first thing we're going to do is take whatever your interface is. Again, it could be any company. I'm using a Universal Audio Apollo 8P, and we'll talk later why this is, in my opinion, the best thing to be using for streaming. So you're going to go down here to configure speakers. So let me make this window a little smaller so you can see what I'm talking about. So first I choose on the left, I choose which audio interface I'm using. I'm using the Universal Audio Thunderbolt. You'll see where all these come from later. So I'm going to configure these speakers. What am I going to do when I configure them? I'm going to make sure they're coming through a virtual input, virtual channel, if you will. Why? Because if it's coming through my, if I'm listening to my Mac audio and it's coming out of my interface at the end, I can't control where that Mac audio goes, but I need to be able to, and you'll see why in a second. Especially if you're doing Zoom masterclasses, if you're doing a Discord hang. There's so many things you're doing, okay? So, Virtual 1, Virtual 2. So what I'm doing is I had channels created in my console, okay? Settings. And I created these channels, 17 and 18. So I turned on virtual channels. So 17 is my left channel. 18 is my right channel. So these are virtual inputs, and we'll talk about what that means. So I'm in here. Great. So I get that. So I send my Mac audio through Virtual 1 and Virtual 2. I'm not sending it through my monitor left and right. I'm not sending it through my mains. I'm not doing that. Here's why. When I click apply, apply. When I'm done with this, here's where my Mac audio is going through. And when I say Mac audio, I mean this music you're about to hear. Let's turn it up. This music, instead of coming out of here only, my mains, let me make it bigger, it's coming out of here. Why does that matter? Because watch this. You don't hear it anymore. I still do. I'm now in control of what I hear. Why? Because there's a virtual channel. Let's turn the music back on. It's back on for you. It was always on for me. Why does that matter? If I can control when I can hear something, but the audience can't, we're at the beginning already of how to have an inviting audio setup. You need to be in full control of this audio, okay? So, you need to be in full control of your audio, as we are right now. So what I do is, I send my headphone mix to what's called a Q out. Again, this will be done on whatever your audio interface is. They're all different. For me, I'm using a Universal Audio Apollo 8P. So I'm listening on my headphones right here. Now, if I were playing the music, okay, you're hearing it, I'm hearing it's great. But this is my Mac audio channel now. I have a channel just for Mac audio. Watch this. I don't hear the music. You do. You're gonna see why this control is crucial for us creating an inviting stream, okay? So this is a tech thing, but this is a very crucial tech thing. So now that I've created in my audio MIDI setup, all my Mac audio is going through a virtual channel. I could even do goofy stuff to it. I could put reverb on my Mac audio. Could watch a YouTube video. I'm not gonna do that, but I can do anything. Now I can manipulate this channel, okay? So I've done that. What's the next step? Unfortunately, this is the only step that's going to cost you money. You probably have already everything you need to become a music streamer. This, unfortunately, is necessary. You're going to spend $99, hopefully this is your only investment, on an app called Loopback. Do you see how when I'm talking, this is moving right here? See that? All that's happening here is I've created a virtual device, okay? A virtual device. See, it says devices up here? So I've created a virtual device. I call it streaming audio. This streaming audio we're going to be using in Discord. We're going to be using in Zoom. We're going to be using in Google Hangouts, Google Meetups, whatever it's called. We're going to be using in Skype. We're going to be using in OBS. We're going to be using to stream. This one little thing, you'd have to buy this thing. I'm telling you, I've tried everything. You have to buy this. You just have to. You just have to. So once you bought Loopback, what did I do? It's very simple. See my main outs right here? When I go into OBS, here's what OBS or Wirecast or StageIt or any sort of website you're going to stream to, here's what they do. They take channels 1 and 2. So they say, oh, great, they're sending me an audio interface. Most computers only have one audio interface. It's an internal mic, and it's sending usually through channels 1 and 2. So cool, we'll just grab 1 and 2. To which I say to OBS, no, don't grab the first 2 channels as left and right. They're not left and right. See how it even says right here, L and R? See L and R right there? You want to tell your computer, no, that's not my main outs. So you go into whatever your audio interface is. I use an Apollo 8P by Universal Audio. Check out here, 25, 26. Those are my main outs. So I go in my audio interface. I go to my main outs. I go to Loopback. I go to Loopback, and I make sure that that's my main outs. So I use my main outs as 25 and 26 for me. For you, it'll be some different number, whatever your main outs are. So we've done 2 things so far. We have separated our Mac audio into a virtual channel. Okay, separate. Have a virtual channel somewhere. Another way of doing this, which is very clunky, is you send the main outs, literally like the main outs, instead of going into your speakers, you get a cable to connect them into an input channel on your interface. So if you have an interface with 4 channels, you can say, all right, I'm going to go out, my headphone out, and I'm going to loop it in to channels 2 and 3. And now that's left and right. Whatever it is you have to do, you got to make sure the audio you're taking is being separated through a virtual channel. And as you can see here, we want all of our main outs being sent somewhere. So it's streaming audio. I created a device called streaming audio. It's so simple. Just wherever my main outs are, send that and call that streaming audio. Now we have created the beginning of a process that's going to give us inviting audio. You'll see why. So I'm gonna minimize that. You already created everything you need. Those other devices I have is because I'm fancy. You don't even need that, okay? Exactly what Ty just said. It's just like a copper route, but we're doing it digitally. So now that I have that, what's up with this? What's video call output? This is where it gets fancy. And you're going to need this. Okay, so we had some virtual channels we created, 1 and 2. We created that so we could have Mac audio separate. But what's most important about this is we got to create a second set of stereo virtual input. So 3 and 4, which is, it's listed as numbers 19 and 20 on my interface. Whatever it is on yours, it'll be different. I need to create a video call output. So I go back into Loopback, okay? I go into Loopback, and I know this stuff is dry. It's going to get more enlivened in a second. So now I create what's called video calls / Final Cut Pro. What is this? We're going to talk in a little bit later on how to get Discord to work here. But basically what this is you are going to be hearing Skype, Zoom, Discord, as you'll see in a second. You'll be hearing everything through Video Calls Final Cut Pro. Why does that matter? Here's why. You can mute them. So I can hear, if someone were to call me right now on Skype, I could talk to them. You guys would not hear them. Unless in OBS you turn something on, which we'll get to in a second as well. So you would not be hearing them. So this allows for feedback loops to stop. So if you're doing a collaborative music stream, which does happen, you're going to need 2 virtual channels. You're going to need this. One is your Mac audio, which you can control if you want to. But the other is your video call output. This way, Skype, Zoom, Discord, Google Hangouts all come into your ears, but they ain't going nowhere because they're muted. So because your main outs are affected by whatever is muted here. That's how your main outs know what to send. So you say, I'm muting that there, but in my headphones, I still hear it. So when I do a collaborative stream with someone like Destiny, I hear him, he doesn't hear himself back. This is crucial. This is enough to make someone want to give up. I spent about a month and a half solving this. This is how you do it. Okay, so we got that. And again, pause this stuff and rewind the VOD if you need to. But if you're taking notes right now, I applaud you. Okay, so we got our console settings. We got the audio routing almost done. Oh, let's show you. So if I go into Zoom and I go into preferences, how do I make sure it works in Zoom? Very simple. See where it says speaker up here? Well, my speaker is Video Calls / Final Cut Pro. Like I said, we created a device for that, okay? We created a lane for that to listen to. And watch this. I forgot to mention, this is the most important part. Where am I, let me close this. Where am I hearing Video Calls Final Cut? Look where I'm hearing it. Channels 19 and 20. Does 19 and 20 ring a bell? Well, 19 and 20, let's go back into it. Again, it's different for you. 19 and 20 are my virtual 3 and 4. So I'm sending whatever audio goes into video calls, that device I created in Loopback. Let's go back to it. Whatever audio goes in there goes into this channel that I can control. I can mute it from the listener hearing themselves back. Okay? This is so important. So I hope this is making sense. I know this is intense stuff, but if you follow it along and you have to rewind this, you're gonna understand what's happening. You're gonna be very, very ready. Discord, we'll talk in a second about why this is so annoying. You have to do exactly what I did here. If you want your audio to work in Discord, you do what we said. Create a virtual channel on your interface. You're gonna need to create a virtual device and send that audio into channels 19 and 20. Okay, and then to make Discord work, you're gonna have to do this. Here's my Discord. See how it's streaming audio and it's Video Calls Final Cut Pro? It ain't gonna work. Discord is a thing called WebRTC. It's a whole technical thing. It screws things up. How do you fix that? You make a source be Discord and you mute it when capturing. So whatever you're hearing from Discord, it's muted when capturing, but this allows you to send stuff to Discord. This is a huge, what we're doing right now, this masterclass is worth just this one trick on a Mac. No one knows how to get Discord to work on a Mac. This is how you do it. So you create the virtual channel, you go into Loopback and create a virtual device that sends to that virtual channel. You do it like this in Discord. You take the input from your streaming audio that you already set up. The output is video calls like you just set up, and then you put Discord in here as an app, as a source, and you mute it when capturing. That's how you do Discord audio on a Mac. It is a nightmare. It is a true nightmare, but we solved it. That's how you do it. So why does this matter? Well, when you do your remote recording sessions in Pro Tools, this routing is now done. I'm done. I've done so many remote recording sessions. I hop on Zoom. I send them original audio. They hear everything I'm doing perfectly. So this is how you do it. All right, so that's audio routing. I think we've got a pretty good handle on that. Now this all is going to work with Pro Tools, okay? Let's say you're doing, and we'll talk later about content, let's say you're doing a stream that involves Pro Tools. Well, you should be able to hear all this. Even the click track. Well, let's pause that. Turn the click track off, which I can't seem to change. There we go. Oh, because all were selected. Okay, so let's not do all. And let's do this, and let's mute the scratch box. Okay? So you're hearing exactly what I want you to hear. Now, how did I do that? Now, this is going to get a little bit technical, but if you're someone who wants to run Pro Tools sessions and that's how you're inviting your audience in, you're like, oh, I want to make a nice, cozy environment. Well, here's how you're going to do it. You're going to go into whatever DAW you're in. Could be Logic, could be Reason, could be Live, could be Pro Tools, and make sure that each channel has its own output. Make sure it's on the right output. So, for example, I don't want you guys hearing this scratch vocal, but I want to hear it. So I'm going to listen to that scratch vocal right now. I'm going to hear it. You guys are not going to hear it. I'm out of tune. I can hear that I'm out of tune. You can't hear me. Okay? So I'm able to work on my work without doxing whoever I'm working with. You don't have to hear the vocalist. I can do my work. So how is that inviting? Well, someone can hear. They can be a fly on the wall in your session, and you can have privacy. You can listen to your own stuff. So long story short, I implore you to look at this audio routing stuff. We already gave you tricks and tools right now to get your stuff up and running, right? You need to make sure, let's recap, you need to make sure you're sending your monitor mains to a virtual channel. You need to make sure that you create a second virtual channel just for listening to Zoom calls, to Discord, to whatever else you're listening to. And then now that you're in Pro Tools and stuff, you can choose if you want the audience to hear it or just you to hear it. Because essentially what's happening here, if I may, what's happening here is this channel is for me only, and this channel is for the audience. You get it? Cool. Okay, so that's the audio routing portion. Now, while you're creating this environment, you might want to have your own amp. That's challenging if you're in an apartment. So something like the aux box, an amp loader will allow you to have your own amps. You might have some sort of modeler. You might have something else like that. But we'll do a few little samples later of how that thing works. But long story short, I'm able to let's turn the volume on. I'm able to send you all signal from a microphoned situation. So we're hearing 2 microphones on my amp. We're hearing a room mic. Okay? But also if the neighbors say, you can't do that no more, man. It's too late, and you're playing a straight up, analog pog loud rock concert, well, I turn my speakers off. And then I turn on, and you're seeing what I'm doing here, I turn on my aux box left and right. So now we're going to hear me through a different amp. It's a modeled amp. Same amplifier, but there's nothing coming through in the room. Everything you're hearing I probably should have tuned before I did this. So you get the idea. So there are different solutions for you if you are in a scenario where you cannot make loud music. Well, you can use something like the aux box. And what I did is I ran these cables into my channels 7 and 8. And so if it gets too late and I want to play really, really, really loud and it'll wake up, my neighbors because I'm in a house, I just use these channels. If not, I mute them. And now we're back to the actual amp in the room. So there are different, and again, I'm clicking all these things to make sure I can hear what you're hearing. So this is how you're going to be able to run whatever you need to create an inviting audio environment to where it feels like you are there with the person. The audio is the most important thing. If you have any more questions, there's going to be a 30-minute Q&A at the end of this. I will be happy to answer detailed tech questions. If things did not make sense, I would also implore you to watch the VOD back because everything you need is in there. Everything you need. And there are also YouTube videos you can specifically look at some of these things I said because you heard the keywords, virtual channels, and you can find them for your device. Okay, so we have the audio covered. What else are we going to do to create an inviting environment? So we're artists, we're creators. Well, this camera setup is, I think, pretty inviting. How did it get there? So a couple things you're going to need, but I want to start off by saying you already have the best camera kind of ever invented in your pocket. This is an iPhone. There are multiple ways of getting this iPhone to go in. So we're done with the audio. You can add your own compression settings, your own EQ. We have the routing so that you can collaborate with people. You're able to do Zoom meetings, Pro Tools sessions, everything you need to do, right? So we're good on that. We can get more detailed later, but now we got to get the camera right, okay? And again, this section is all about how do we create an inviting environment. So the camera, it's so important, but what's even more important? The lighting, yeah. You got to light that stuff. I could turn off my lights right now. Wouldn't look that bad because this camera is really nice at letting in light, but check this out. It's not bad. It's not as good. It's not as good. This is okay. It's sort of like, hey guys, I'm Smeagol. It's fine. But this makes me look like I'm on a Hollywood movie set. What did I do? Well, I set up a light there. You can find lights for so cheap online, guys. I'm telling you, Amazon, go nuts on it. And then this up here, I've seen lighting for $45, 2 light sources. Depends on how fancy you want to get. This is a little yellower. That's a little whiter to look like daylight. I've explored and played with stuff. I find having 2 sources is helpful. But getting your lighting right, meaning don't have just a light behind you and nothing else, right? Don't just have a light underneath you coming up, a lamp. You'd want to invest in lighting almost more than anything other than the audio, which we've already covered to a degree. Okay, so next up to becoming a successful live streaming musician, camera. So what do I have on here? So all this is about a $30 lens I bought, I think maybe $50, on alloclip.com. It's a super wide angle lens. You put it on your iPhone, how do you get into your computer? So we'll talk about that in the next section, which is making your tech work for you, but just know that there are a few different solutions. One of them involves cabling, etc. Okay. So we need a camera that is lit well. We need lighting. 2 sources is usually preferable. A third one's even nicer. You can Google on YouTube, real lighting hacks, but just know that what everyone says online is true. Lighting is kind of the most important thing. Now, let's say you played a guitar, and it was, oh, you're so good at guitar, and it's desperately out of tune, and and the amp doesn't work and it's cutting in and out. No one's going to know that you're a great guitar player because you didn't fix the strings. You didn't play through an amp that worked. It's the same with visuals. So putting a day or two aside to really focus on this lighting, really get clear on what makes your face look good. You know, for some people, higher lighting like me looks better. For others, it gives you what they call raccoon eyes. It depends on you. So spend some time on this, okay? Ben, I love that you have questions. Guys, save your questions for about an hour from now. We'll be doing a big Q&A. So, what else was I going to say? Okay, so another thing with the cameras is if you don't have an iPhone camera that you love, you could use your laptop's camera. I would highly suggest against it. Highly. For a couple reasons. I started live streaming with that this past year when the pandemic hit. I used my laptop camera, and I found a way to make it look okay, and then I realized this is a nightmare. The angling of it while still making it work, you're really going to want to have a camera, and you already have a $1,000 camera in your pocket. If you don't want to go that route, and if you have a bunch of money, well, get a DSLR. This is a DSLR right here. And let's talk a little bit about DSLRs. If you're saying, I really want to invest in this, you know, this might be 3 months to a year before I'm really back to playing live shows, and the DSLR will benefit me moving forward to make music videos, content, etc. If you're going to make that investment, I have a very specific recommendation on a camera. It is expensive. It's the one I'm using right now. Please trust me on this. Just trust me. I think you can see it, so I think you'll hopefully already trust me. Get the Canon EOS R, the end. There are a lot of reasons why. When you start streaming as I did, you find that every little cable, the power cable you plugged into the camera, can not only break your camera, it breaks your entire stream and nothing works. Every little thing you change has a mountainous effect on the rest of the stream because streaming is so processor intensive, okay? So if you change, oh, my XLR cable is now shielded, suddenly your computer breaks. What? And I've spent so much time troubleshooting. My girlfriend can attest to it. People on stream on Twitch can attest to it. Stressing out about not being able to go on stream that night because something broke when it shouldn't have, in my opinion. The Canon EOS R does not overheat. I've had this camera on for 12-hour streams. Doesn't overheat. I've had it on over there near my window when the sun's burning in. Doesn't overheat. You need a camera that doesn't overheat. So if you're going to go the DSLR route, may I recommend the Canon EOS R. If you have more money, the EOS R6. I don't have one of those, but those allow you to shoot in C-Log, and it also can change aperture and all this stuff. So I would highly recommend the EOS R if you're going to stream. Everyone else loves the Sony a700, another great camera for streaming. There are Sonys that are awesome. I think the Canons are the richest and warmest, and they don't overheat. They also have something called Clean HDMI Out, okay? Clean HDMI Out, I'm going to keep this on. Clean HDMI Out means that the image you're seeing doesn't say 35 seconds, record now. It just sends you a pure signal of whatever's in the camera. So you're going to need that, a camera that does Clean HDMI Out and that doesn't overheat, okay? If you're going DSLR. What was I going to say? You'll also need capture cards. So everyone seems to use the CamLink 4K, which is an Elgato product. I use that, and I also use the Elgato HD 60S Plus. Believe it or not, I have 4 capture cards right now plugged into my computer. So what are capture cards? Capture cards, if you remember from back in the good old days, remember sound cards? Remember how I got an upgraded sound card, So capture cards allow you to take a signal and input it into your computer. So back in the day when we were younger, we needed a sound card to record stuff in there. And now the sound card is these audio interfaces we have. So a capture card takes information from any digital device. I don't know where you're looking at one right now, an iPad, and it allows it through HDMI to go into your computer and then turn into a digital signal that makes sense to the computer. So most computers have HDMI ports in the back, even laptops do, but they're out, HDMI out. We need HDMI in. This is where a capture card comes in, okay? So let's say you have an iPhone and you're saying, I want to become a music streamer. I don't have the money for a DSLR. Fine. Get a capture card, which is expensive, $150 to $200. You can get a Blackmagic one. You can get, don't get a cheap one online because they don't do color correction correctly. You can get an Elgato, whatever. You're going to need this $39 attachment. I think it's $39, maybe $49. It is a HDMI to Lightning converter. Do not buy any other version than the Apple version. Just trust me on this one. I'm trying to get you to see it. Okay, sorry, 1 second. I'm now doing the makeup tutorial vibe. So this thing right here, this has an HDMI in and a USB-C power thing. This, when you plug this into your phone, HDMI comes out, goes into your capture card, which you're going to have to buy if you want to use your phone in the highest def possible way. Then whatever you see on this screen, people see. So you can go into camera mode. There's a company called New Tech that makes an NDI thing that you can Google it, but long story short, you will be able to get this to show up on the stream. I'm forgetting actually now the names of some of the companies that I use. I used to use this on stream. I did. Just Google it. Google, how do I get my iPhone to become a camera for stream? You can do it. You just need a capture card and a dongle that actually works. Another way of doing it is what I referred to earlier, which is NDI. So NDI is this weird thing where you can, over the internet, send signal. You can do this wirelessly. Frame rate's not as good. It works. Frame rate's not as good. It loses connection. Battery dies. I mean, there's so many issues that happen from wireless use. And when you're streaming, you're probably going to want to be doing an hour to 4 hour streams, probably. So maybe don't do the NDI thing, but you can do that. One last thing of getting the cameras right. Let's talk about lenses. I know I'm going a little bit out of order here. Sorry about that. Let's go back to DSLRs. How do we make our DSLR look amazing? Well, it's not just about, doctor, we'll answer that later. But yes, there's a USB thing for powering the phone and the HDMI out to give a signal. Yeah. So let's say we're using a DSLR. The most important thing is not the Canon EOS R. I recommend that because it doesn't overheat. It has clean HDMI out. I know it works. It's amazing. The most important thing in my experience is the freaking lens. What kind of lens are you using? Can it autofocus, etc., all this stuff. So let's do a camera comparison real quick, and we'll talk about the differences between lenses, okay? All right. So if you're trying to create an inviting environment, we talked about framing. We talked about what's in your background. Where are you? This is going to make people want to be there. That's what we want. That's why we're creating an inviting environment. We're musicians. We want people to be there, okay? If we have the money to get a DSLR camera, let's talk about lenses. There are 3 crucial components to a lens, and I'm not like a freaking Peter McKinnon, but I can give you the bare bones for musicians. Aperture, ISO, or sort of, like how much light is let in, and actually I'm not even sure what ISO stands for, but ISO, and the focal length of the lens. Okay, so let's break those 3 things down. The aperture is how much light am I letting in? And it doesn't actually matter for light. For us musicians, who cares how much light's letting in? What it matters for is how cool does my background look? The lower the aperture, the more light that comes in, the more blurry the background becomes. Watch what happens when I'm here, okay? See how the background's not as blurry? Watch what happens when I get up close. Wow. Oh, it's called the bokeh effect. It's real blurry back there and real buttery. That makes people feel invited into the process. You become the star of this image, okay? So this lens is a 1.4 aperture lens. This lens over here, that's a 1.8 aperture lens. See how the background's blurry, but the mic looks clear, okay? So you're gonna wanna make sure, in my opinion, if you want an inviting environment, make sure that lens goes like at the highest 2.8 lens. But I would highly recommend a sub 2 lens. So a lens that goes below an aperture of 2.0, 2.2. I would highly suggest that. That'll give that blurry, buttery feeling. Here's another example. If you were to say, oh man, I got this cool camera. Check out this aperture. It is 5.6. Well, it's going to look like a point and shoot camera. Everything will be in frame. Everything will be perfectly in focus. And it's not going to feel as inviting, to be frank. It's not. It might look crisp and high def, but as a lot of us musicians can agree, having the highest def signal ain't always the best. How many people play a vintage guitar here? I rest my case. So, we are, or a vintage amp, or whatever. You like the vintage, we combine new stuff with vintage stuff. That's what a lot of us musicians do. So make sure that lens has a low aperture so you can let in more light. You can also stream in darker environments, okay? Then the ISO is, where you're going to set the amount of, exposure is what it is that's coming in. So I can change that right now if I wanted to, and I could make it darker or lighter. I'll do it right now just to show you. So this is exposure, okay? I don't know what setting I was on. I think I was on that setting. So I just changed the exposure. It got dimmer, it got brighter. The actual lens was, whatever, getting dimmer. the other most important thing in my opinion, there's aperture, there's also focal length. This is a 20 millimeter lens. No one knew this the entire stream so far, but I look skinnier than I actually am because of this lens. A 20 millimeter lens is what's called a wide angle lens. It shows a lot of the room, okay? The lens you're seeing over here, it's a 35 millimeter lens. The higher the millimeter number goes, oh, that light just blew out again. I might not look as good when I step over there because of that. I have to buy a new light. But anyway, the higher the number, the wider and more natural you look, okay? But the less you can see. It's a more cropped image. So you can go online and do a calculator for millimeter lenses, you know, and you can even type in, there's a cool website I typed in, and I thought, should I get a 14 millimeter lens or a 20 millimeter lens? I don't know. And so I ended up deciding on 20 millimeter because the calculator showed how much of my guitar would show. It was a whole math thing. It was very fun. So watch me on the 35 millimeter lens and see how I look over there. Okay, so now we're on a 35 millimeter lens, okay? That light is fritzing out, so whatever. So my lighting's actually normally even better over here, not as on. There's some nice spotlighting. But anyway, this is a 35 millimeter lens. This is how my body actually looks, a lot closer to real life. And this is Canon glass. So if you're really saying, I have more money than I need, and I want an inviting environment, I'm gonna create a really inviting environment, may I recommend the 35 millimeter RF lens from Canon, which is what you're seeing right now, and the Canon EOS R. All together, that package is about $2,500 unless you buy it used. If money's no issue to you and you're certain you want to be streaming and you want to use it for all these other things, such as remote master classes and all that, well, check this out. It's a pretty nice look. But if you play guitar like I do, even if I went full angle on this, you know, it'll look good here, but guys, I'm 6 feet away from that camera. And see how close I am? I'm 6 feet away. So the higher the millimeters of the lens, the more cropped it is, right? So if there was an 85 millimeter lens right now, you'd be seeing like here, I'm guessing. But you see my whole body because it's 35 mil. Well, let's go back to the 20 millimeter. Oh, the light came back on. I want you to see the lighting. So this is a little bit better lighting. A little bit. Actually, I could probably improve that anyway. But you can see there's a little bit more of a difference here. Shadows are nice, you know, not just straight on. Ring lights, not so great with DSLRs in my experience. But I have a ring light on around it just to fill, and then here's the nice light. Okay, so this will create an inviting thing, this combination. This 20 millimeter lens, much wider. I look skinnier, which whatever, but it allows the guitar to be in frame. And I'm only 2 feet away. I'm like a foot and a half away from it. So you can get closer and it's wider, all right? And again, this has the benefit of that really buttery 1.4 aperture. So even though it's a Sigma lens, a Sigma 1.4 aperture 20 millimeter lens, which in my opinion is not as good as Canon glass, that's my opinion. But it's great glass, it's just not Canon. Even though it's Sigma lens and not a Canon, I mean, it's buttery, right? Because this 1.4 aperture allows things like this. You know, you can really make that, look at that, you know, make that the star of the show. You can show things off on it. You can, again, inviting your audience in. Who knows what your stream's going to be? Who knows? But you can invite people in when you have this sort of an environment, okay? So let's go back into our main setting. We're about halfway through with this masterclass. We're giving you all the things you're going to need to become a successful music streamer. So let's move on from creating an inviting environment. Let's recap. So what space are you in? What's in your frame? What makes people want to be there? Number 2, what instrument are you playing? And how are you going to capture that into your audio interface? Oh, how do you capture it into your audio interface? Well, we covered a lot of that stuff. So we went deep into that, routing, all that. So, and then you're going to want to compress things and add EQ like I'm doing here. And then we showed the difference between something like the universal audio aux box and microphones and how that allows you to create an intimate experience for your audience because you're able to make your music at whatever hour, okay? And then we talked about camera stuff. We talked about capture cards, how they're crucial, how you could do an NDI with an iPhone, and the iPhone's going to be a great looking camera, real good looking camera. Especially with extra lenses, which you can add to make it look really cool. So yeah, long story short, we're covered on, I think, the audio, how to make it feel inviting, focusing on your space, the lighting, the cameras. This is crucial. And this is going to benefit you because now you're going to be more in charge of your art, your music video making, and everything else moving forward, not just live streaming. Next up, Let's put some music back on because I forgot to have music on. Oh yeah, we're ready for some music. Making your tech work for you. Okay. This is a very important section. Probably the section I spent the most time prepping. So, we'll talk about this in the question and answer section. But the first question is, are you on a Mac or a PC? Because if you're streaming, you should be on a PC. Guess who's not? I'm on a Mac. But if you really want to be a streamer, you better get on that PC. There are some very specific reasons why I am not on a PC. Very specific. And those reasons were largely because my streaming platform had taken off so much that I was able to invest in the actual computer I needed, not just for streaming, but for the film scoring work I've been doing, and for the production work I've been doing, and for the remote recording session work I've been doing. So I ended up investing in a computer that is a real workhorse, so I could stay in the Mac ecosystem. But you are going to need a PC that is about 1/10 the price and about 1/4 as powerful to stream correctly. So if you're thinking, I might get a PC, I might get a Mac, if you have a choice, I think PC is the way to go. All the audio routing stuff we talked about will still apply, just with ASIO drivers. It's a different process, but you'll be finding those routing things and you'll be doing the same thing I talked about. The other question is, are you on a laptop or a desktop? So if you're on a laptop, your graphics processing unit is probably not going to be super strong. It's going to have a little bit of a harder time, rendering everything you're doing. Streaming is incredibly intensive on the computer. So if you're taking this seriously, get a PC and get a desktop. How about you're all like me though? How about 95% of you out there are going, I'm not going to buy a new computer to do this. Great, then you're just like me. So yes, I bought the Mac Pro because my streaming was taking off and people were coming and showing up, and I thought, let's do this. But guess what I started streaming on? A 2015 MacBook Pro Retina. That thing has a super loud fan. It does not have a good graphics card. I think it's an integrated graphics card even, an Intel integrated. The processor was at that point 5 years old. I mean, this is not a great streaming computer, and I was able to stream on it. So how was I able to do that? Well, we got to start making our tech work for us. If you are on the laptop you're on, and it's a Mac, don't worry, I got you. And we're going to get really techie in a second. We're going to have a lot of screens, and we're going to see some stuff happening. What you're going to want to do is make sure you're streaming at low enough settings, and I will show you exactly which settings to use. I'll give you tiers, not crying tears, but different tiers. What else about making your tech work for you? Well, you also need capture cards. We talked about that. You can get away with an NDI on a phone, but if you're using a DSLR, get that capture card, baby. Do not do the USB in beta mode Canon thing. Get a capture card. You're going to need that. But there are other options for bringing in content. Let's show you a really fun one right now that you might be surprised works pretty dang well. This is called Reflector. It's backwards, which I just realized now. But let's say you're listening to a band like, Zane, Carney Quartet. Album comes out April 30th on Arenda Records. Jazz guitar record, brink, brink. Let's say you're listening to an artist like that. Well, look how I'm just scrolling through my phone. Now, the frame rate's not great right now, purely because I'm window capturing. And I'm window capturing because I wanted you guys to see this cool outline of the phone. On Mac, you have to display capture and crop it. But when you do that, it doesn't look as good, because you don't see the boundary as nicely. So right now this is looking kind of glitchy, purely because I'm using window capture. I do not recommend it on a Mac. Just doing it to make it look fancy, the borders, that's all. I can show you the display capture version and it won't look as good. But anyway, so this app, Reflector, it's called Reflector 3. It'll allow you to have anything that's on your screen on the stream. And again, it'll be in real time if you're not window capturing like I am. I want it to be so fancy that I made it look stupid. So you could do an Instagram Live, and you could have your phone on here, and you're having a conversation on Instagram Live. And if you follow the audio routing we talked about, you can mute them from coming through. You just, I want to send this audio, Reflector audio, through this channel called Video Calls, and I mute it. So I can hear them in my ears, but no one else on the stream can hear it, so there's not double audio, right? They're hearing the audio from this. Whatever, you get the idea. So there are and it's totally mirrored right now, and I could have also fixed that. Decided not to. Nailing it. On my screen, it's not mirrored, so that's the fun part. That's where it gets real fun. Streaming, it's always something new. But anyway, if you want to have something creative, you've already thought about creating an inviting environment, and perhaps that's having conversations where you can see someone you're talking to. May I offer to you an app like Reflector 3? This works for PC and Mac. Okay, so that's one kind of solution for you. We already talked about the NDI thing. I don't really recommend it, but Google it, download it, and you can play around with it, and maybe you can use your phone as a wireless camera. Again, I would not recommend it, but you can do it. Here's the real meat of this stream. We are now an hour in, and it's time to get into the meat of how you freaking stream. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna need a streaming software. Some people on Mac use Wirecast. Some people use Streamlabs OBS. Some people use XCast, I think. There are many different platforms. Some of them cost a lot of money. I use what's called OBS. It is free. It is probably the best. Maybe not the best on the Mac because they are not part of the open source encoding community. So it's not as effective on the Mac as it is on a PC. But this stream looks pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. So that's OBS. So let's dive into how the heck do you use OBS? Okay, so you're a music streamer, and that's a preview of what we're going to be talking about later. That's a virtual camera situation. We will also get into that. So you're a musician. You've been spending your entire life getting good at music, not becoming a freaking tech person. And you're a little different than I am. I love tech stuff. I enjoy problem solving and troubleshooting. I love math. I love video games. So let me take the fear away from you, okay? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to download OBS. Now, you could download Wirecast. You could download Streamlabs OBS. You have options. I'd recommend OBS because these settings I'm showing you right now are going to make the most sense, okay? But do whatever you want. You can use Streamlabs. Okay, so first things first. We have the general settings, okay? And this stuff doesn't really matter. This is not going to affect the performance of your stream. But let's say you're on that Mac laptop. You're on that 2015 Mac laptop, even earlier, and you're saying, I still want to stream. It's going to be 3 to 6 months since I can actually get the heck out there and play some music. I need to do it. I say, all right, great. So here's how you do it. Your stream key, which I'm not going to show you, this is how you stream to places. So Twitch, Stageit, Veeps for live concerts, which I do with Evan and Zane, and solo. Where else we can do this? Any ticketed platform, Facebook, YouTube. They're going to offer you, when you log into your account, a stream key. You're going to put that stream key right here. Okay? You just literally hit copy, paste it in there, and you choose the service. Today, we're streaming through a service called Restream.io. So it goes to YouTube, it goes to Facebook, all Sam Ash's platforms, and then today it's also going to my Twitch channel because I thought we'd get a lot of eyes on this, and I was hoping this would be helpful for y'all. So Restream allows you to stream to 10 different platforms at once. So you're going to be typing in that stream key there. Okay, next what do? You're going to go into your output. Here, you're going to decide, and I have suggestions and recommendations, you're going to decide what quality you stream at. So this is all grayed out because I'm streaming. But see how I'm using my H.264 hardware encoder? Friends, I do not recommend you do this unless you have a great graphics card. Just trust me on that. Apple encoders, hardware encoders, they're not good. So real quick, a quick history. And again, this is the section of making your tech work for you. So this is going to get techie, but we need this to become streamers. We need this section to get our feet off the ground, and then we can do more research later. So real quick backstory, NVIDIA and AMD make graphics cards, okay? Those are the only real two options right now, NVIDIA or AMD. PCs can use NVIDIA and AMD cards. Macs can only use AMD right now, only AMD. Guess which one's better for streaming? NVIDIA. One of the major reasons you don't want to have a Mac. Why am I streaming on my hardware encoder? Why am I using a Mac? Well, I have a 2019 Mac Pro that I built specifically because streaming was taking off so much for me, and I realized the benefits of streaming, which were now I'm doing master classes at universities with this crazy setup that I have, and it's easy for me and no nonsense. Now I'm doing remote sessions with people who are in different continents, and they feel like they're there with me. They feel like they're in the session with me, so I'm doing more recording stuff. I'm doing co-writing sessions where I feel like I'm writing with the artist because I'm look at this, we're right here together. I do Zoom meetings, I do press interviews, and they use my footage to go up online. I'm doing things with guitar magazines. They're like, oh, use your camera and we'll upload this to our account. I mean, the options have become endless for me because I started with the streaming. Similar to an athlete who says, I started on the skill of lifting weights and now the rest of my career opened up. So I'm on a Mac because I got in too deep and I'm too into the Mac ecosystem. So I use a hardware encoder. For you, I recommend using X264 encoding. So that's an option right here that you can't see, okay? There are 3 options generally: your hardware encoder, your Apple software encoder, which I don't even know what that is, to be honest, because I don't use it. It's not good looking. Or X264, which here's the idea. For music streamers who are going, what does this even mean? Hardware encoder is your GPU. That's that thing in the back that you plug all your monitors into. That's your GPU is doing the encoding. It is streaming for you. It's saying, oh, we know how the graphic's supposed to look. Bam, we stream for you. The X264 is your computer processor doing the encoding. That thing that calculates, that thing that opens your mail app, that thing that browses is also now encoding a crazy high quality stream. So we want to offload, we want to go hardware if we can. If you can't, fine. There are solutions for you. If you have an old laptop, you may be able to get an eGPU to work. I tried this with my Mac Mini. We can talk about that in the question and answer section. It did not work out for me for a few reasons. eGPUs with Mac Minis have known issues for streaming. They do not have known issues on laptops. So you might have a great Apple laptop, you get an eGPU, have that do the encoding for you, like we're doing right here, and then your CPU is now free to run a Pro Tools session. Your CPU is now free to open your mail app and talk to people and open apps without stuttering, okay? So I use the hardware encoder whenever it's working. Some days it randomly doesn't. That happens when you're streaming. It's really frustrating. It happens. So, I would recommend X264 encoding. See that bitrate right there? Why am I uploading at 3,500 kilobits per second? What does that mean? That means the stream I'm giving you is 3.5 megabits per second. You know how when you download 4K videos on Netflix, oh, that's fun, it's magic. Well, it is magic, but there's also math behind it, right? There's a certain rate at which you're downloading. Anyone here who knows anything about computers, and if you know zero, that's okay. After this masterclass, you can start streaming tonight. But anyone who knows a little bit about computers knows that their internet service provider probably gives them between 100 megabits per second and 500 megabits per second download, right? So this is only 3.5 megabits. Should be fine, right? You'd be surprised. A lot of people have internet service issues, and so I'm sending only 3.5 megabits per second on this stream. I'm sending that. I'm doing that. I'm broadcasting that. When I broadcast to my Twitch partnered channel, I do 6,000 kilobits per second. I do not recommend you do that. I'm partnered on Twitch, so people can say, oh, this is too heavy of a stream for me. My internet's not good enough for this. I'm going to watch it in 420, 240p. Real low resolution. That'll downgrade it to 500 kilobits per second for them. And then they can enjoy my music, right? So I'm a music streamer. So if you do too high of a kilobits per second number there, and the service you're streaming to does not have the ability for people to downgrade their encoding, they're not going to be able to see your stream. It'll be a buffering circle the entire time. So you got to make sure that you find this sweet spot. If you're someone who has access to being partnered on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch, and they're saying, oh yeah, you're in, baby, well then do 6,000 kilobits per second. That's generally the highest number people go to. Some streaming services allow 10,000 kilobits. Most cap at 6, okay? So do that. I'm not doing that because we're on Restream. This is going to YouTube. It's going to Facebook. It's going to Periscope. I got to make sure this is low enough for people who are not on my Twitch partner channel are able to watch it. Now, one last thing about encoding options. All an encoding option is what you do on YouTube. You know when you're watching a YouTube video and you click, I don't want to watch it in 1080p. I want to watch it in 720. I don't want to watch it in 480p. I want to watch it in 4K. Those are encoding options. If your streaming service does not offer that because you're not partnered yet with them, do not send too high of a bit rate. Do not do it. Now, lastly, there's a setting here that you can't see because we're doing hardware encoding. If you're doing X264 encoding, which is what I recommended, right? Your CPU, just let it encode because it's as a Mac, it's just kind of generally the way to go. I want to show you a little graphic that I'm going to draw for you right now, okay? So we're going to add a current template after. Here is when you're in X264 encoding, just hang with me here, okay? I know this is a lot of tech, but this is what the musicians need right now, okay? To make it work. X264 encoding, here you're going to get a drop down if you do this option in OBS. And the drop down is going to say this. I think it starts with ultra fast. Oops. It's going to say ultra fast. Then it's going to say super fast, I think. Then it's going to say very fast, I think. Then it's going to say faster. You see where this is going. Fast. It'll say medium. Okay, it'll say slow. You got it? So these are the options you'll have. Which one do you choose? Very simple. And you'll try this out in a test stream. So you'll go maybe to your YouTube and you'll stream to your YouTube unlisted. And maybe you'll invite a friend to watch, or you'll watch it yourself on a different computer, on your phone, whatever. So you're gonna try a test stream and you're gonna try these settings out. What does this mean? Faster, very fast, super fast. It's very simple. The higher you go, the worse it looks. The lower you go, the better it looks. I should have made this green and the other one red. Why is that? Well, watch this. Let's say you said to me, hey, Zane, it's so cool that you're like a great artist. I'm not. You're such a great artist, and I would love to be drawn by you. I'm not good at painting or drawing. Oh, can you do it in like 30 seconds? I go, okay, sure. Oh, God. Okay. Okay. Oh, God. Oh, God. Time's up. Oh, okay. Did you like your portrait, or did you not like it? It looks just like you. She only gave me 30 seconds. This is my ultra fast setting. I did it as fast as I could, and I rendered it as fast as I could, and it looks terrible. It looks worse because I'm encoding it as fast as I can. I don't know. It's just a general idea. Well, what if you gave me more time? What if you said to me, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Don't worry, I'm not going to spend 2 minutes. I'd be like, oh, let me just get the chin there. Okay, a little chin and a little bit of that. And then your jaw looks sort of like that. Interesting. Okay, you're trying to... Oh, you look like an alien for some reason. Okay, how was your day, by the way? Was it good? Oh, nice. I love your almond-shaped eyes. They're so almondy. Yeah, and I love how you have these beautiful eyelashes right here. Yeah, this is nice. Again, I'm a terrible drawer. So this is going to look like an alien. So just pardon me. Okay, yeah, you went to school down in San Jose. That's crazy you went to San Jose. I love San Jose. It's a great city. I love that city. Yeah. So, and have you always been brunette? No? Oh, man. I wouldn't have known. Have you always had curly hair like that? It's such beautiful curly hair. I mean, it's just, I love curls. You know, they're just so nice. I have your little ears peek out. You're an elf. For some reason, you're an elf. And I love this little blouse you're wearing, you know? And I love your shoulders. You got such beautiful shoulders. And have you been working out? I bet you have. I bet you've been working out. I bet you have it, you know. So anyway, this looks like a ghoul, like a real goblin ghoul, but it does look better than this. So this might be medium setting. Now, if I were a smart person, I would have prepared a painting by Renoir to be the third option, which would be the slowest option, the better option. What's the problem here? If your computer is not strong enough, it can't do slow. Your computer is not strong. Your computer is like Zane. This is as good as it can do in medium. So you go, oh, that looks terrible. So you got to find the sweet spot. I would guess, if you're on a Mac laptop, start it very fast. Start it very fast. Do not start it faster or below. I'm streaming to you right now on a hardware encoder. Had I done X264, I would have been at fast. My computer, it's a 2019 Mac Pro 16 core, has a Pro Vega 2 Duo graphics card, has 192 gigabytes of RAM. It could have done this. But I tend to go faster, just because I might open apps and it might drop frames when I do that. So I would say start it very fast. Worst case, do ultra fast. What is that going to mean? It means when you move quickly, it's going to be pixelated for a second. Like when you're watching Netflix, and you go, what? Why is it buffering? And it's blocky, and then finally it comes back and is clear. Same thing here. The more movement you have, it'll be blocky for a moment around your hand. Now, the good news is you're a music streamer. You're here to become a professional, live stream musician, right? You're here to get better at that. So it's you got to be clear on the fact that you're not a gamer playing Fortnite who needs a reticule that's perfectly pixel perfect. So blurry's fine. If ultra fast is all your computer can do, and you're doing, and we'll talk about the output in a second, the video aspect ratio. Just trust me on this. Start around very fast. If it's stuttering, go to super fast. Still stuttering, go to ultra fast. If your computer cannot do X264 encoding at ultra fast on the settings we're going to give you, you kind of might need to get another computer, which stinks. But most likely, your computer's going to be able to handle very fast. My 2015 MacBook Pro Retina did very fast at the setting we're going to give you. Okay, so let's keep going. So now we're talking about recording. You're not going to be recording. You're streaming. But you know what? I'm recording right now because I'm recording this in a higher bit rate than I'm sending to you. I'm recording it at 10,000 kilobits per second using my X264 encoder in faster. So I made sure that my computer is strong enough, this is me, to hardware encode stream to you while recording X264 for me. So this is overkill, right? But this is what you will eventually graduate to if this live streaming thing becomes serious enough for you. Or if you've made so much money in your musical career, you want to start at the top? Yeah, get a 2019 Mac Pro with 192 gigabytes of RAM so you can open all the apps you need. With 16 core processor, do not get the 24 or 28. They're not fast enough single core for streaming. Get the Pro Vega 2 Duo or the double, max it out if you want, and then you can do what I'm doing right now. If not, stream an X264, ultra fast to super fast to very fast, you'll be fine. Very important setting in OBS, okay? Let's go back into OBS settings. So, we're back in OBS settings here. Audio, very important that you get this audio. So the recording, I forgot that I wasn't on this scene. So recording, I'm doing what I'm doing, X264. Streaming, we already got. Audio, make sure it's 320 kilobits per second. What is that? Well, when Apple iTunes Plus came out, they stopped uploading 128 kilobits per second MP3s and started uploading 256 kilobits per second MP3s, which still sounded like garbage compared to vinyl. But, they worked. Well, this is 320 kilobits a second. So you're hearing from me, I'm sending you as much data as Twitch or any other streaming service will allow. So it's the highest, I think it's AAC is what they send you. So it's not MP3, I think. Someone could pull up a thing right now and look and see what I'm sending you. But anywho, 320 kilobits per second, this is the live streaming musician needs to be doing this. It's only 320 kilobits a second. Remember how before we're video doing 3,500? I think your computer can handle an extra 320. That's 1/10 of what your streaming video was, right? And by the way, a suggestion, start at 2,000. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the bitrate of what I think you should do if you're on an older hardware. So audio, also, why not do 48 kilohertz? CD's 44.1, 48 is a little bit more transients you're going to get. So those spikes, when the computer is processing those sine waves, it does them more frequently. So if I can give you an example, I actually should have done this. Let's pull in the iPad. Oh, because I'm in settings, I can't show you. So real quick, let's pull in the iPad Pro wired. There we go, perfect. And let's go back into settings. Check this out, y'all. So, check this out. So, let's go to new page. Audio. Watch what's happening here. Oh, whoops. Watch what's happening here. This is an audio wavelength, okay? Okay? Same audio wavelength here. Same one. I mean, I'm doing the best I can. I'm not a freaking artist. If I were to sample, meaning have a piece of this audio wavelength every 44.1 kilohertz, it would look like something like this. I'm trying to make these equal. I'm not good at drawing. Please do not judge me. Okay? This is 44.1 kilohertz. Okay? Here's 48 kilohertz. Oh, interesting. The lines are closer together. Yeah, because it's a faster rate. It's a faster rate. These are just total approximations. What we actually hear this line. This is analog. This is why we love analog guitar pedals. This is why we love vinyl. We hear the actual sound. This is why when you call your girlfriend or boyfriend or other, it's nice to hear their voice on the phone, but when you hear them whisper in your ear, it's real nice. You know why? Because physics are doing the rendering. God, if you will, is doing the rendering. You're hearing every single bit of that sine wave sonically, okay? With digitization, we must approximate. So they take samples, slivers of that sine wave, okay? So just long story short, do 48 kilohertz. You're going to want to do 48 kilohertz because you're going to hear more of this wave. Now, when I'm in my audio setup right now, I'm sending 96 kilohertz. You can do 192 on this thing. Oh my God. So the 192 is just, you have so many more samples, it sounds more buttery, it sounds more lively, it sounds more real. Now, some would say the human ear can't even perceive these differences. I don't think that's true because I have heard the difference myself. I bet if we did recordings back to back, especially if there was a lot of cymbals, like cymbal crashes, tss, those are really fast, right? Super fast waves. You hear the difference. You hear the difference. A slow wave, well, you'll get like this, versus this. It's not a huge difference, right? But a real fast wave, well, if you're doing 48 kilohertz, you might miss some of those transients. So I've heard on cymbals, it sounds different. So get 48 kilohertz going. Give your audience what they want. They want to feel like they are there with you. Give them 48 kilohertz. Okay, video. Here we go. 1920 by 1080. I'm doing that. 59.94 frames a second. That's 60 frames a second. These cameras are at 59.94, so I do what the cameras are to get less stutter. That's great. I can do that. So I'm uploading a 1080p, which is an HD signal, 60 frames per second at 6,000 kilobits. Well, I have a Mac Pro that can handle that. If you don't have that, if you have a laptop, may I make a suggestion? My suggestion would be this. If you are on a old laptop, okay, here's what you are going to stream at. X264, very fast to ultra fast, depending on how old it is. 2,500 kilobits per second, okay? Maybe even 2,000. Let's change that. Let's say 2,000 to 2,500, okay? This will make things look a little bit blockier. It's fine. You're a music streamer. You're not playing Fortnite. 2,000 to 2,500 kilobits per second, and you're going to do 720p, okay, at 30 frames per second, which is also 29.97 depending on the camera you have. Oops, frames per second. So what are frames per second? Again, you're a music streamer. You don't want to care about this stuff. Frames per second are the visual version of this. Frames per second are the visual version of 44 to 48. We are sampling it more frequently. So if I do 24 frames a second, it looks like a film movie. Everything's kind of moving slowly. My motion, it only captures this part and that part of it. So when I move, it just captures bop, bop. 30 frames a second, it captures bop, bop, bop. It captures 3 hands. You can stop on 3 frames and see a hand in 3 spots. Captured. 60 frames a second, when I move my hand, it goes bop, 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 bop. You can have 6 individual frames of my hand. It looks smoother. My hand's moving right now looks smooth. Go online, watch a 720 30 frames per second stream, which is what most webcams are, and it's stuttery. It stutters. It looks like television, like 1990s sitcoms, right? Capiche? Dave's World. Those are at 29.97 frames per second. This is 60. 60 is inviting. We're trying in step 1 to create an inviting environment. So 60 frames per second is the best. If your computer can't do it, do 30. It's fine. It's fine. They're there for the music, okay? So if you're on an old laptop, these are the settings you're going to do, okay? These are your settings. If you're on a new computer, well, still, check this out. You're going to be surprised to hear this. If you're on a new computer, I would still recommend X264 unless it's a PC that has an NVIDIA graphics card that is so NVENC encoding, which is the hardware encoder for NVIDIA, is so amazing. It's like better than X264 and hard. It's so good. So if you have a PC with an NVENC encoder, you are good to go, my friend. If you don't, you're going to want to... Oh, great point. Sam Ash says... And by the way, we're here with Sam Ash today. Oh my God. I got so deep into this. Guys, this is on Sam Ash's YouTube, obviously, but for those on my Twitch channel, you can see in the description below, this is in partnership with Sam Ash Music Stores. So we had this aux box sent over so we can start working on some of these settings we'll show you later. And Sam Ash has just been so kind to me. I bought, I think, my second guitar ever at Sam Ash in New York City. So anyway, they're here in the chat because this is their stream. And so Jimmy Kimmel uploads his videos at 60 FPS if you want to see what that looks like. Great. So if you have a new computer, here's what I still recommend. You can go all the way down to fast. Fast to ultra fast, doesn't matter, whatever works for you, because you might have a workflow where you want to go to ultra fast because you're using so much processing in your computer. You're like, whatever. I don't care if the stream's a little bit blocky, whatever. I would recommend this though. Watch this. Go 2,000 to 3,500 kilobits. Do not go above 3,500. Why? Kilobits per second. And then do 1080p at 60 FPS. Why? That's what I'm doing right now. Why would I cap you at 3,500? Here's why. Only do 6,000 if partnered. The end. So if you're partnered on a platform, then do 6,000 there. If not, you are going to make it impossible for people to enjoy your stream. Someone in a remote part of Australia who has satellite internet wants to engage with you live as a music streamer, they can't. It's too much data for them. This is whatever. Oh, I meant to write 1080p, not 108. Do not upload your stream at 108p. Okay, this is not a Game Boy. This is to be digested on stream. So 1080p at 60 frames a second. That's gonna be great on a new computer. Your computer's processing, internalizing, but you gotta send less than 3500 if you're not partnered and the encode cannot be dropped down. Now YouTube may allow encoding options if you're not partnered. Great, then do 6000, whatever. But these are the options for music streamers who don't know much about tech. You want to get it done, do this. Now this lands code sharpen scaling thing, I don't downscale, so it doesn't matter for me. I have it in the highest setting because my Mac can handle it, but it's up to you. Okay, last but not least, video. This stuff up here, color format, keep it NV12. That's what Twitch processes. That's what all these plays process. Keep it NV12. Color space, 709. This changes the amount of colors. I'm not a digital imaging technician, but I know that the higher the better in this space. Color range, keep it full. So you can get all that color in there, right? Especially if you're gaming and stuff, you know? Okay, so that's everything in OBS settings. We're not even done yet though. We're about halfway through the tech stuff, okay? Next up, we're in OBS. You've got your settings. You've got your audio routed correctly. You've got your camera set up real nice. You're capturing it through your capture card. It's a real inviting environment. You feel good about it. The audio sounds good in your ears. You've done the settings Zane suggested, right? Why did I just say Zane? Whatever. You've done the settings I suggested for your old laptop or new computer. Now you got to build some scenes. So my mouse is right here. This is what OBS looks like. These are all my scenes. If I go from scene to scene, you will see things change. Right now, you're gonna lose this for a sec. I'm gonna click main cam with restream chat. Watch what happens. So I just clicked it. A transition happened, and now we're here. Okay. I'm gonna go back by clicking the setting I was in. Okay. Or I can click my stream deck, which we can talk about during the question and answer. Okay. So here I am. The only reason things are slightly choppy right now is because I'm recording this stream at an insanely high rate while also streaming to you guys. Okay, so here we go. So camera comparison, Tech Pro Tools. Okay, so here's what I want you to look at. See how it says sources right here, up there? Sources, okay? You're gonna be taking in sources in OBS. You've got your streaming set up, you're ready to go. You know, your 720p at 30 frames per second or whatever you have. Great. Now you need some sources. So you're going to click on, let's say, video capture device, or I don't know, what's this? The video games input, or I don't know. These are all different video captures. These all have individual capture cards into my computer. So let's look at the iPad Pro wired landscape. Look at that. So that's the source. There it is. So it comes up in its own window. I can choose what preset I use, what resolution it comes in at. I don't know why I choose 1440, because you can't even stream on any platform at above 1080p right now, but I do that. I have full, I have a 709, all this great stuff. The color's looking real good. And then I bring in that source. And then it's on if I want it to be. Great, cool. So that's a video source. So we're gonna be adding sources. What you're gonna need is a visual source, your camera. I mean, look at this. This is my camera source. EOS R #1. Bam, that's my camera source. So that's my source, that's how it looks. It looks really smooth when I'm scrolling this around because I'm on a Mac Pro. It might be a little choppy when you change these settings. Do not fear. Once you set it and forget it, it should be pretty smooth, okay? So I have full color, 709, full video range, get all that juicy color. So these are our sources in OBS. All you're gonna need is a music streamer. You don't need all this stuff I have. We'll talk about some of it later in the third section, okay? The third section is connecting with your audience. You will need some of these globes. They're called browser sources to connect with your audience, okay? But for now, we're still in the knowing your tech, making sure it works for you, right? So you're gonna need one of these microphones, okay? And these microphones are gonna be that source you created an hour ago. See this streaming audio? What is streaming audio? What device is it? It's streaming audio. Remember Loopback? Remember how in Loopback we created a virtual device called streaming audio? Let me bring it over to you. Streaming audio. There it is. There's streaming audio in Loopback. I created that device. That device says to my computer, hey, yo, use these two outputs for the main outs. Do not use these, buddy. Don't use 1 and 2. Use these two. So here we are. We choose that device, and now you are hearing audio from streaming audio. So that source is on. If I turn that source off, Oh, now it's back on. You hear me. Okay? So that streaming audio, this looks like macabre with this light going on and off. I should just go and turn it off because I didn't realize how distracting that is. Anyway, so also you gotta have levity with streaming. Things go wrong. You're juggling 500 million hats. Artist, creator, collaborator, technician, mixing engineer, visual, digital imaging tech, computer, IT. You're doing everything. So you got to give yourself a break when you're streaming and things go wrong. And if someone in chat is giving you a hard time, ban. You don't got time for that, all right? You're here to have fun and provide a great service to people, which is providing intimate concert experiences or musical experiences during a time when we can't hang out. People are craving this right now. Do you understand? Okay, so you have your sources. Other sources I have here, they're just browsers, video, and then monitor sources. So for example, this source right now that you're able to see, I highly, highly recommend, if you're on a Mac, use display capture. Do not use window capture. Remember the issue we had with Reflector, how it's choppy? There's something broken on Mac with window capture and OBS. It's just broken. I don't know why. I've gone to many message boards. It's just broken. So use display capture. What does that mean? Well, surprisingly, instead of capturing just that window and being able to drag it wherever you want, you're going to do something different. You're going to capture your entire display, and then you're going to crop it. Okay? So right now, we're looking at, where is this one? Left monitor. Here it is. Great. So the source you're looking at right now, okay, see how it turned right there? I'm going to double click on it. This is actually what I'm capturing. Do you see all this? This is my left monitor, but I cropped it. Where is this? I cropped it right here. You can't even see. I cropped it right here, right there. Just that little bottom little quadrant of OBS's window. And a lot of Inception stuff's happening right now because you're seeing a bunch of weird, you're seeing it happening multiple times to itself. But anywho, I'm capturing this little bit, that's all. So I cropped it. Watch, let me prove it to you. I could uncrop it if I want. So let's choose that source. Here we go, and let's uncrop it. Oh, I'm uncropping it. Now you can see what's beneath it. It's like a reveal, the big reveal while I crop it. So this is how I'm capturing this. So this is called a monitor capture or a display capture. So that's why you see that down there. So I use plenty of these on my streams, and you'll see why as we go on. So long story short, when you're in OBS, I gave you the settings you're gonna need that are gonna work for an old laptop or a new computer, and then I gave you a little brief overview of sources, which we're gonna get much more into right now, okay? Much more. So let's talk before we leave there about transitions. See this thing right here? Stinger? What if I did fade? What if I did, I don't know, a 500 millisecond fade? Well, I'm gonna change between this source and this one and watch it fade for you. It's gonna take 5 seconds because 0.5 seconds because 500 milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds equals 1 second. So we're gonna do, in half a second, it'll fade. Watch. Oh, it faded. Cool. Let's fade back. Cool. Okay. So that's one transition you can do. You're becoming a creator. You're a creative force as a music streamer. So you're gonna decide what works for you, right? For me, I add what's called a stinger. A stinger is a transition. Let's see, properties. Oh, there we go. A stinger is a transition that I chose, and I had someone brilliant create this stinger for me, and it's in this file. It's in my Mac Pro. It's in my desktop, and I chose that file. And every time I click a transition, between the different things, it calls up this stinger. I give it 2,000 milliseconds transition point. What that means is it takes 2 seconds for the transition to change scenes. When it wipes away, then you see the stinger happening, and then I'm beneath that, transitioning to the new scene. So you'll have to figure out the right transition point for yours. But long story short, stinger transitions. If you have someone creating graphics for you, you can create your own. This is a great way to make your stream inviting. Let's change between those settings again. Now using my stinger. Oh, whoops! I wasn't on it yet. Stinger. Oh. Well, this happens on stream. Whatever I just did by changing the properties, I must have messed up and I must have chosen the wrong thing because I moved that file. So that's fine. So we go back into desktop. I'm going into you can actually see this in real time happening if I were on the right setting, which I'm not. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into my desktop junk folder. There's a folder called 827. I go to the transition, I choose it. So I had moved it before the stream, I forgot about that. Here we go. So now we're back. There's my stinger. Okay, see? And then 2 seconds in, it changes to this scene, okay? So transitions are a great way to make people feel invited and part of. It's like, wow, what a fancy broadcast. And they're surprisingly simple to hire someone on Fiverr or elsewhere to make. Like, I need a stinger with my logo, and people can do it. Ashlyn Namaho is the incredible artist who created that stinger. She's incredible. So, all right, so where are we now? Virtual camera. So now you've got everything you need. You have the audio routed. You got the camera of your dreams. You have it set. It's an inviting space. You now understand what you're streaming at, what settings you need to use. Now you have your sources, and you're understanding the beginnings of sources, okay? Let's say you go, you know what? I learned how to stream. Zane gave me most of what I needed, but I can't seem to figure out Zoom or Discord or Skype. And like, my camera doesn't look as good. What do I do? Check this out. Start virtual camera. Now, thankfully, I tested this before the stream. My computer can handle streaming to you, recording at 10 megabits per second, and virtual cameraing. Let's dive in and show you what I mean. That's a virtual camera. Oh, it looks broken. Why's that camera got a slash through it? This stinks, man. It doesn't work. It's about to work. Okay, so what I do here is, in OBS, I choose Start Virtual Camera, okay? Now, before you saw Stop Streaming, Stop Recording, and beneath that you saw Start Virtual Camera. When I click this virtual camera, and watch what happens to this image up here. Watch this. Bam. So I'm sending everything that's in my OBS to this camera. Why does that matter? Because when you give your next masterclass at NYU or whatever, wherever you give jazz masterclasses, you can freaking do whatever you want in here. I'll show you. Watch this. Let's say I'm giving a camera lesson or a masterclass to USC, right, where I went to school. Well, I'm giving them a lesson. I'm going like this. I'm saying, hey guys, so here's how the notes work in this song. Giving you this masterclass, having a great time, and it's so awesome. And look at the half diminished chord. Wow, what a 2-5-1, and everyone's learning. Wow, 2-5-1s are so cool. And then they go to whatever. So I'm circling all these things, and see how it's happening in the virtual camera. So whatever I do here in OBS affects my virtual camera. So when I Skype or Zoom or Discord or Google Hangout with a really important benefactor, maybe it's some big university, I can do a proper live stream thing without even an RTMP pull, without some sort of stream key. I can just do it, bam, right there. So this is a new feature for the Mac. It's been working on PC forever. It finally works on the newest version of OBS. I highly recommend people use it. I'm going to stop that virtual camera now. So that's a great use of this streaming stuff, to be able to use it in a professional scenario that has nothing to do with streaming. You're able to use your stuff the way you need to. Now again, a lot of the smooth transitions I'm doing are because my computer is so fast, right? But you can do this on your old laptop. You just have to stream at a lower setting, which I gave you up here. Okay, so that's kind of your starting ground. It should allow things to work. Now for me, I had a Mac Mini. To give you some context, I had an Intel Mac Mini. It has 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, 2 Thunderbolt buses. So there's two ports per bus, which means that the data throughput is congested, right? Because each bus can only take so much data. So there's 2 ports, but it's really kind of like 1 port. You can stick more things in there, but there's a throughput that it can handle on that bus. Only 2 Thunderbolt buses. I had a GPU plugged in. I had 3 of my capture cards plugged in on the other things. I had all this stuff working, and I was doing 1080p at 60 frames a second at 6,000 kilobits. And it worked 70% of the time. And then I would open up Pro Tools, and it would crash everything, and it would break, and I would stop streaming. And then I would open up Logic, and it would break everything. So if you're doing Logic sessions, Pro Tools on your old laptop, just stay on this. Stay on those settings, because you'll be able to open up stuff, be at work, running your session just like I'm doing smoothly, with everything working. My stream is running smoothly while doing all this crazy stuff, because while uploading at these crazy speeds, I have enough processing power, and I'm offloading the encoding up to the hardware encoder. You get it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. These Pro Tools remote sessions I was going to talk a little more about, but we kind of already covered how to do that. Now, there's one thing we did not cover before we move on to the next part, which is connecting with your audience. So one more tech thing I want to talk about real quick is color correction. So right now you may think, wow, that camera, that lens, dang, it looks good. That lens is tight. And that camera, it doesn't overheat and it does clean HDMI out. Well, watch this. Let me show you what I'm actually, oh, wow. I just saw a delay happen. Oh, that was weird. All right, watch this. Filter. Ready? This is what I'm actually sending. What? That doesn't look as good. That looks half as good. Now it's good again. That looks half as good. It's good again. Looks pretty good. Looks great. What is that? I put on a LUT. So you can put on a filter. So let's talk about this. Let's close. That light is just dramatic. Honestly, you're so dramatic. I think I'm gonna go turn that off because it's just gonna keep happening. And I know I shouldn't spend time off stream during this stream, but I'm gonna have to. All right, so let's keep going. Let's get you off. Okay, so let's keep going here. So what is a LUT? Well, let's go back into the OBS settings bit, okay? And here's why. This view is going to allow you to see what I need you to see. So I need you to see filters. See that's a drop down? Watch this. So what I do, and let's turn this source off. We don't need that iPad no more. Okay, so what I do is this filter. It's a LUT. So I have a cinema style LUT. You can find lots of free LUTs online. You can also buy some. There's so many great ones out there. A dear friend, Echolocations, who's a member of our community in Discord and in our Twitch streams, and he's also a fantastic streamer, a music streamer himself, he said, check out these free LUTs I have. So, click it off. Now it's in what's called C-Log mode. If you get a Canon EOS R and you have a fancy camera, I would highly recommend shooting an S-Log for Sony or C-Log for Canon. This is a more neutral looking thing, and then you apply your LUT, which makes the camera quality have more vibrant blues, redder reds, whatever your LUT does. Now I have a few different LUTs here. Is this one work? I think I turned some of these off and did not follow the right. Yeah, these are not all active because, yeah. Color correction maybe. Oh, I have color correction on too. I didn't even realize that. There you go. So you can do a lot of stuff, and I didn't even realize that. Look at that. Huh. I'm not even sure if my color correction makes it look better or worse. I think it makes it look probably better. Anyway, so you can change these settings yourself if you right-click on your source and choose filters. Okay? So if you're really trying to create that inviting atmosphere and you want to know your tech setup, really know it, well, this is an advanced feature. And it's going to allow your thing to look just so buttery. And the better your stuff looks, the more people feel like they're there with you, right? Okay, cool. So we have pretty much found our way to our third thing. So we started off, let's scroll back. We started off with creating an inviting environment. Then we went into making your tech work for you. We covered capture cards. We covered reflector, NDI sources if you need to, how the streaming software works, what you should be streaming at, what numbers you're working at, okay? Virtual cameras, how to use that for Zoom calls or Skype, which you saw. Now I will say one thing on the virtual camera tip, you have to do a setting that removes your security on Skype to make it work on Skype. It works on Zoom seamlessly, works on Discord seamlessly. Yeah, there's that. So we did creating environment. We've already talked about this. Let's give a little check. And a lot of people ask about my iPad. What am I using? There's an app called Good Notes. I use Good Notes. All I'm doing is connecting my iPad to a capture card. Almost any device you can think of can use a capture card, okay? We'll show one later that you'll be like, oh, of course that uses a capture card. So we did this, create an inviting environment through audio, through camera work, all that. Then we're making our tech work for us. We're making sure we know how to use it, so we're in charge of it. And I taught you literally everything you need to know to do it. There's nothing else to know. I mean, you can get more advanced, but you'll be up and running tonight if you follow this stuff. And I'm on an iPad Pro using a pencil, Good Notes. I connect it through a capture card. Bob's your uncle. Okay, connecting with your audience. This is probably the most important one. It definitely is the most important one. So let's start talking right now about this. Let's scroll over to connecting with your audience. So how do we connect? Well, when we're doing a live concert, we're able to just play a song, people paid for a ticket, and they're there. When we're live streaming, it depends on what platform we're streaming on. So let's start by talking about the pros and cons of different streaming platforms. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Here are some places you can stream. There are many others. Here are some. Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram? Let's talk about these. So Facebook is the biggest social media platform in the world. That's why they're ruining the world. Just kidding. So they're the biggest one, right? So if you want to get the biggest audience, I guess stream to Facebook. You can do that. Videos I see on Facebook get 111 million views. It's like, are you kidding me? Jeez. Now YouTube is the biggest video platform, right? And then there's Twitch. I'm partnered on Twitch. I really believe in the Twitch process, and I'll tell you why. Twitch, people go to engage live. That's why people go on Twitch. People go on Facebook to be angry about politics. People go on YouTube to see a how-to video, kind of like we're making today. People go to Twitch to engage with live streaming. Now, if you're talking about a ticketed thing, a place like Veeps is where it's at. They're going to Veeps because they want to buy a ticket to see your show. And all these same things you've learned today apply on Veeps. I've done so many Veeps concerts. I just say, hey, I'm promoting a concert. I email my list. I do all that stuff, and people come. People come. If 100 people come to your show on Veeps and you just charge $10, you just made, after credit card transaction fees, basically $1,000, basically, for the 100 people coming. So this live streaming thing, I should have said this in the very beginning. Why would I live stream? Well, look at that. I mean, let's say you did a solo show of your own at a coffee shop in town, in Wisconsin. 20 people come. It's $10 tickets, $5 tickets. Maybe it's even a tip jar. If you get those 20 people to come online, you're broadcasting it. That goes straight to you. So this helps you. I think hopefully helps some people see like this is actually a legitimate thing where maybe I don't do anything on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook. Maybe I purely do live stream concerts that I promote to people. Sure, keep it private. Why not? Do whatever works for you. You're connecting to your audience. Now, I will say Instagram. You can do this. What I'm doing here, you can do this on Instagram. I'll show you how real quick. We're not going to do it, but I'll show you how real quick. So, we're going to wait for my computer to not freak out. We're going to go into settings. Pardon me, I need to drink more water. Here we go. See where it says output here? See where it says video? Base canvas resolution? Believe it or not, you can change that to a custom one. And you can make it the resolution of Instagram. You can make it this way. You can broadcast in portrait mode, basically. It's possible. And then you use an app called Yellow Duck. And Yellow Duck allows you, I haven't used it yet, but it allows you to stream to Instagram. Now that's cool and all, but check this out. If you're a live musician streamer, you're here because you want to know how to become a live stream musician. I would personally recommend against Instagram. This is just a personal opinion. Here's why. When you see on Instagram 20 people watching, 9 people are usually watching, and then 11 are coming in and out every 10 seconds. And so you might get 1,000 views of your show, but 9 people are there for a concert. The other 11 who are coming in and out, it's 11 new people every second, or I'm in and out. On a place like YouTube or Twitch or Facebook, they're there, or Veeps, your actual concert, they are there to hear you perform. I'm here to watch you. So 50 viewers on Twitch is like 575 on Instagram. It really is. You get 50 people really watching you, actually watching, actually engaging with you. They want to buy your merch after. They want to hang out with you on your, special private Patreon Zoom hang. They want to talk to you in Discord. They want to hang out and email, your email list. And these are real people that are coming to your performance, essentially. So Instagram, yeah, maybe you could do this OBS stuff. Use Yellow Duck, upload to a special RTMP server that Yellow Duck creates for your Instagram Live, and you could do all these things on Instagram Live. You could. And maybe by making it this compelling with nice cameras and audio, maybe, just maybe, it would become a real valid platform. But I'm just saying, maybe think hard about where you want to stream. And if you're not sure yet, use what we're using today, Restream.io. Stream everywhere. See where people actually congregate for you. See. And then decide, like I did, on what your platform is. For me, it's Twitch. Great. I want to talk about connecting with your audience in this way. The benefits we already talked to a little bit about of partnership are this. You get encoder options. A lot of these different streaming platforms, you only get those encoding options if you're partnered. So if you're going to stream to all these platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, you will most likely not be partnered on any of them. And then you can't give the highest quality stream like I can. So for example, tomorrow at 4 p.m. PST, I will be, actually earlier, I think 3 p.m. I start tomorrow, on Friday, February, whatever it is, 26th, 5th. I'll be streaming on Twitch. If you want to come to that stream and you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you'll see, if you can believe it, an even better looking stream. It'll be less blocky when I move. It'll be really precise. You'll feel like you're even more here with me. That's because I'm partnered. So think about that. Now, what are other ways to connect with your audience as a music streamer? Well, I would highly recommend getting into Discord. So Discord is like the 21st century version of a newsletter, but way more private or intimate, way more connected. So let's dive into Discord real quick, okay? So here's Discord, all right? This is my Discord. Now, if you want to come to my Discord, there's no real way for me to show you if you're not on Twitch. But here's how you do it. You just go to my Instagram. Go to instagram.com/Zane Carney, and there's a Discord highlight. Click that, you're invited. And what that means is you're in my private server. So now it's like a Facebook. They say, and they're joking stuff, they say it's like Facebook, but not terrible. So there are different channels in here. You can find out when I'm streaming. Here's my stream schedule, you know? You can find out when I go live. It'll automatically notify you. Oops. You can talk with people randomly, just general chatting. You can debate about politics. You can, see some funny media. You can talk about music theory. I pop in the music theory channel frequently. You can talk about retro video games, all interests that I have and that my community has. And we've built this out. So I would highly recommend, if you're considering becoming a proper, successful live stream musician, make Discord a part of it, especially if you're on Twitch. This allows people to go to the after party. The after party of your show is in the Discord. So you do a great concert, and then in your Discord after, everyone's saying, "Oh my gosh, that was so fun. That was so crazy. Oh my God, I love your music. I can't wait to come back to your next stream." They'll do that in your Discord. Now on your newsletter, which has always been a thing that we use as musicians, that's great. But your newsletter is one direction. Your newsletter only gets sent to the band one direction. That was a joke. It's one directional, right? This is omnidirectional. You both get to talk to each other. It's really fun. We have about 1,000, just had over 1,000 people in our Discord after 10 months of streaming. We started the Discord July or so of last year. It's a great way to connect with your audience, okay? So I highly recommend getting on the Discord train. Okay, what else? Alerts. Okay, we got to talk about these, y'all. So let's go back into the main camera setting. So another way to connect with your audience that I find really important, but it can easily get kind of cheesy and out of hand, is what's on your screen. So in my opinion, giving this masterclass about how to become a successful live stream musician, in my opinion, less is more. I want to show you the settings, but I like this. I like that you feel like you're here. I'm talking to you. I can see your name in chat. Obviously, this will be up for replay on YouTube and Twitch, and I'll be putting it up on my YouTube channel. But you're here with me. That being said, if I was doing an actual performance right now, which I'll be doing every day the rest of February, and I stream like 5, honestly, I stream 3 to 7 days a week on Twitch. So I do a lot of this. So what do I have up there sometimes? I have this up. So when I change songs, I have this thing right here. It's called a browser source. Okay, so I have a browser source. When I play my new single, Brain Freeze, which is, by the way, on Spotify already, Zane Carney Quartet. It's also, the full album's coming out April 30th. This is my newest jazz record. You can see that. So we're chatting, and I'm engaging with you. This is a way to engage without having to do everything. What's another way to engage? Well, let's say I feel like playing some video games while we're talking music. I don't know. You're going to connect with your audience in your own way. Maybe I play a video game while I'm doing it. Oh, there it is. I'm playing a video game. Capture card. I put a capture card in, and now I'm playing a video game. What's another way to make this feel interactive? I don't know. Maybe I'll put up my streamer song list. I will say this, I'm not a super huge fan of the look of it. It's what it is for now. You continue to grow and get better as a streamer, as an artist, right? But this is something. This is in my current queue. These are donations people have made for me to, perform certain songs or live learn them or talk about them or analyze them, or I have my own stream. You'll have your own stream. For you, this might be, whatever it could be for you. They could give you $5 to do a special loop in a certain key, and they get to choose the key by donating $5. I don't know. Your music stream could be you just have a tip jar like this, and people are just, I don't know. You could have a song list that they can't even pay for because you're just like, I'm streaming for fun, whatever it is. Okay, what else can I do? Oh, people can see how many subs I have. That's interesting. So if I get subscribers during a stream, that populates. Now, the funny thing is, we actually have had quite a few subs during this stream. I'm not sure why that didn't work, and that happens during a stream. That should be at like about 10 right now. Subs on Twitch, they're paying you hard-earned money to support what you're doing. So when you get a subscription, it means here's between $6 and $25 a month because I love your stream so much, I want you to keep doing it, right? You can also have this alert be set up for, I don't know, donations that come in. You can have it set up for maybe on YouTube, how many YouTube subs you got that day, whatever it is. It can be a paid thing, it can be a non-paid thing. What's another thing you could put on here? Maybe alerts. So when you have an alert on, when someone comes in and follows, something like this will pop up. Oh wow, this is a test. But if someone actually followed me right now or donated something, you'd see, or some bits were given. Someone in chat could even give a bit or two right now, and you'd see one bit was donated, cheered, because your stream's going so well. Having that there makes people go, oh wow, I'm so excited about this stream. I'm engaging with it. Another thing you've seen for a lot of this stream is this. They can see what's going on. I can write stuff down. So this is all, oh wow, it's frozen. All this is about is connecting, there we go. Oh, the pencil's dead because I've been writing so much. All this is about is connecting with our audience. This is connecting with my audience. Thank you. See, Sean just cheered 100 bits, right? So $1, just cheered $1 to say thank you so much for doing this stream, whatever. Thank you so much, by the way, Sean. So these sort of things will pop up, right? Periodically. These are ways to engage with your chat. Now, also, we're going to get to this later in the Q&A section. We're almost there. You'll also see this at some point. Your chat might pop up. So when people are talking, they're chatting. These are different ways to engage with your community. You can have a chat there. Now, this doesn't look super elegant because Restream only gives you about 8 options of how it can look, whereas any other Twitch streamer is going to have a much more elegant way of doing it. Oh, there we go. We have alerts now. I just tried to turn on the alerts because someone just gave a bunch of gifted subs, but they're not showing up because it happened after I turned it off. I'm so sorry, Metal Pickup. Thank you for that support. So, anywho, these are all different ways to engage. I'm just turning them all on. To engage your community. You might want to put alerts up. How do I create these? Well, let's go back in to our sources area. So these are called browser sources. It's a very odd thing because you're not actually using a web browser to do it. There we go. All right, got it. Let's turn this off. So a browser source is this. For example, my end credits. So the browser source, you just type in this URL, which is given to you by Streamlabs or Streamlabels. You type that in, you copy and paste it, and then you just click OK. So, for example, let's see if I have alerts on. So here's my alerts thing. I'm going to turn it back on. If anyone follows or does anything, you'll see something pop up. If I test it, there's something that should pop up here, I think. There you go. See? This is a test. Now, it's over my face because I created this whole scene today, so it's not actually organized correctly, but you get the idea. So that alert is a browser source. That's all it is. I go to streamlabs.com, create an account, and it gives me, hey, for free, here's all these browser sources. And when someone donates to your stream, we integrate with your Twitch. So we will let people see it happen. They'll see it happen before their very own eyes. So I've had this come in. We've done some really fun things on stream, and people have donated their generously, offer their hard-earned money to see something, sort of a musical magic trick, something that's impressive to them or exciting or a song they love. There you go. Christina Bella just subscribed. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Christina. So they're subscribed now. They saw it. That means a lot. So this is engaging with your audience. We said, this section is called connecting with your audience. This will help you connect with your audience. Because if you're in the middle of your song, it's not just them going, I guess I'm just watching an old video. When you're playing and they cheer 100 bits and they see it happen, they're like, oh, this is live. And then afterwards, of course, you want to say, thank you, Christina Bella, for subscribing. You're connecting with your audience, right? It's a different format than live concert, right? In a live concert, when I want feedback from the audience, I wait for that applause. And when they're waiting for feedback, they're looking in my eyes, looking at them in the audience. Well, there's only one eye. It's that camera. So we have to find other methods of communication. Now, some of us might get bummed out by this as professional musicians. Like, why do I have to do this stupid stuff? So stupid. Yeah, but we're artists. Some artists paint acrylic, some paint oil. There are different art forms, and that's cool. In my opinion, that's actually one of the beautiful things about And by the way, thank you for all these subscriptions coming in. Thank you guys. That's one of the beautiful things about art is we get to decide how we sound. I sound different on an acoustic guitar than I do on an electric. That's kind of the beauty of it, right? It makes me express myself differently. Let's look at this streaming thing as a positive. This is a new way to connect. I think it's a beautiful thing. And a lot of us make music videos. We make records, recordings. They're recordings. Why not do a new format of music, which is called live streaming? Why not try it? I'd say it's worth it. I'm having a blast doing it. I love connecting with people. So let's talk about a couple more things, and then we're going to go into the Q&A section. So let's talk about some artistic ideas. So this final thing is called connecting with your audience, right? So we talked about browser sources, okay? How we can make things interactive for them. Streamlabs, Stream Elements. These are different websites that connect through whatever your streaming platform is and integrate. So when someone donates me money, instead of doing it off, line through my Venmo, it's through a proper source. It's through Streamlabs. And then Streamlabs says, hey, because they donated through us, we'll take like a very small percentage, and then it'll show up a thing right here. And now you're engaging with the audience. They're excited about connecting with you. They're excited about seeing things happen. So we talked about that. We talked about Facebook versus Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, why I prefer Twitch. You could totally crush on Facebook. Go right ahead. YouTube's a great thing. I find that YouTube, you can take your Twitch streams after you're done and edit them and upload them to YouTube. That's one way to keep the party going. We talked about having a Discord and how important it is to have an after party, a show after the show, I would also suggest, now we're in the era of, or the section of artistry ideas. So what else would we do here to connect with our audience? Well, break free from the concept that all you can do is a concert. So think on that for a sec while I drink this water. Think on that for a sec. Okay. Some musicians have said, oh, streaming bums me out. I'm not a busker. I don't want to busk. I don't want to pop on there and have, oh, thanks for the $1 tip for the song. That's amazing, by the way, first off, for most musicians. Wow, they're paying me money to play music. Fantastic. But I can understand that. I can relate to that. Like, oh man, it's kind of, I don't really want to busk. Well, guess what? There are many other things you can do on stream. So let's say your thing is you play video games on stream, but you talk about music with the chat. So maybe you only have 10 viewers, and you're just talking about music during it. Well, someone's probably going to raid you, which we haven't talked about, but it happens on Twitch. Raiding is when someone changes their channel to your channel. So you can be streaming to 10 people, and then suddenly you're streaming to 1,000. Because another music streamer says, I like this new streamer, and they raid you. And that means they change the channel for their audience. What if you were all watching NBC tonight? Oh, I'm watching the football game, and the NBC channel said, click, we're now watching ESPN. What? Some of you would go, get me out of here. Others would go, I actually would not mind watching a basketball game after Everybody Loves Raymond. I'm kind of into this. So that's what Twitch allows. People can raid each other. So I can be playing to only 10 people. I didn't realize I was the opening act tonight, but it turns out I'm the opening act, or closing act, if you will, for some massive gaming streamer or music streamer. And they raid me, and 500 people follow me right away. Well, we love what you're doing. Wow. So there is some discovery on Twitch if you're inviting. If your audio and your visual especially is very inviting, they'll scroll down. Who am I going to raid tonight? Who's this guy with this crazy camera setup? I'm going to raid him. So it really matters, right? So anyway, if you get raided, maybe you're playing a game and you're talking about music, and that's what you do on stream. Maybe you are the looping master. Maybe your streams have no talking allowed. You only talk with the chat through typing to them, and you just play crazy loops, and you give someone a live interactive loop. I'm just coming up with ideas at the top of my head. If you're scared of talking, maybe that can be your way of connecting. You could do, there are some great streamers I'm thinking of. You could do what Laura 6683 does. Huge streamer on Twitch. She plays video game music exclusively. Twitch video gaming, music streaming, perfect. You could be like French Stallion, who plays a video game called Rocksmith, okay? And he plays a video game which involves your actual guitar, not a Guitar Hero thing, but it's just like Guitar Hero. But he plays the game, and he's gotten so good at the game, and he's playing music, and people love it. You could be like a couple streams. They release their original material, and when people come in, they say, "Oh, I'd love to hear this song." I said, "Well, that person donated $10." And they go, "Well, I'm gonna donate 20 because I want my song first." You can create like there's so many things you can do that make you feel like you're in control as an artist. I just gave you 3 or 4 ideas. You can talk with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, with your managers about ways this can be more than just going online and playing an hour-and-a-half concert and hoping, praying people tip and donate. That's fine too. That's great too. I've done some of that because, to be frank, I get the most amount of follows when I'm just performing. Because people come in and go, "Huh? What is this?" And then they just follow. But I get the most actual engagement with my audience and the most growth of my channel, the most viewership, really, when I'm engaging with them, not just doing a concert in the background. Now, you also could be someone who gets 300 viewers, and oh my gosh, and they love it. But these are people who aren't real fans necessarily. And if they are, maybe they're not going to be able to support in any way. They don't want to support, right? So another thing is becoming a successful music streamer means finding a way to encourage people to feel like they're part of something. That's really what it's about. That's why I buy a Wes Montgomery t-shirt, because I feel like I'm part of his coolness. So if you create something that makes people feel part of, they'll say, "Hey, here's $10 to I don't know, to play a song I like," whatever it is for them, So I highly recommend thinking outside the box, thinking how you can make this a fun time. It's going to be another 2 to 6 months of not playing live shows. How can I make this time fun for me, right? And connect with my audience. And the more you connect, they'll tell their friends. They'll be in the Discord. You'll invite more people to the Discord. You'll get rated if you're on Twitch. If not, you'll get hopefully discovered on YouTube and Facebook and shared around, whatever it is. So there are a lot of ways to connect with your audience, and I think we've covered quite a few. So let's go back to the very top of this. Let's see if we actually, let's see if we completed everything, okay? I think we did. So how do you become a successful music streamer? First, create an inviting environment. Get the audio routing correct, so it's inviting because it's good audio. Get that camera and the lighting right, so it's inviting. Doesn't have to be a DSLR. Use your iPhone. Plug in that cable from Apple. Use your iPhone. Get a capture card. Bam, you're done. For $150, it might look better than most people's DSLRs, for real. If you have the money, get a Canon EOS R, in my opinion. Get a capture card. And if you're doing in this environment, if you want to make it loud and rock and roll, but you have roommates and stuff, well, use something like a universal audio aux box, or use an amp model or whatever. Find something that allows you to play what you need to play. Cool. 2, make your tech work for you. Do not get caught in the spiral. I'm lost. We gave you everything you need today. Everything, to make sure that you are in control of that tech. You know how to use OBS now. You know what capture cards you need to buy. You have the option of Reflector to capture your Instagram live sessions. You know what NDI is, and you can search for that and do that if you need to. You know how to use OBS, there's transitions. You know about that. You know about sources. You know about how to use it as a virtual camera. So now you can do master classes with whoever you want, or really high quality interviews. Heck, if CNN wanted to bring me on as a correspondent next week, we have music theory, expert Zane Carney coming on to talk about the music theory of the, the inauguration, but whatever. I'm ready. I just press this button, and I'm on this camera over here, the 35 mil, because that camera, I must have messed something up. Anyway, I must have deleted that source, or by unplugging something, I unplugged that too. Whatever. I don't need that camera now. So you remember how it looked. So I can do this above my head. Just get close to the camera. Hey everyone, I'm Zane Carney. Music theory. I'm ready for anything now because of making my tech work for me. I can run remote Pro Tools sessions. I can do private lessons, whatever I need to do. And finally, so we got these two. Finally, we just finished connecting with your audience, which we're going to do right now. We're going to do a Q&A for about 20 to 30 minutes. Any questions about how to stream this stuff, okay? So, Facebook versus Twitch versus YouTube, we talked about that, the pros and cons. We talked about using a thing like Restream to stream everywhere, but how that kind of dilutes things. We talked about partnership and how that can help you have better encoding options. We talked about Discord, really important tool. And in this, we told you how to route it properly. Browser sources, how to make it feel engaging and like fun things are happening for people and they see it actively happening. We talked about all that. And then we had some artistry ideas of how you can think outside the box. It doesn't have to be just a performance concert. And there's a comment right now from Sadie about keeping it, music performance shows. Well, you can do that on Veeps. You can do that on, there are other platforms too, but that's the one I use. You can make it ticketed. If you're an artist and you're saying, listen, my work has value. People want to hear this value. Division of labor is what made us a great society. Doctors are not spending 9 hours a day sourcing tomatoes. We have someone who provides the tomatoes for them. And then that person doing tomatoes all day now has a doctor who's an expert, And then that person has a plumber. If we were all things and had to do every single thing as ourselves, well, we wouldn't really have civilization, would we? And that's fine. People want to live off the grid, and that's great. But part of what's so beautiful about connecting and collaborating is we get division of labor. Part of that means we have artists. And artists say, I'm going to spend so much time going in that when I offer you my perspective of what going in meant, it may allow you into yourself. That's what we do as artists. So there's value here. So to speak to that question about how, what about keeping it performances? Sure, do it on Veeps and ticket it. There's value to what you do. This streaming thing is not just about you throwing yourselves out there, caution against the wind, It's about saying there's value to what I do. And I believe I'm doing a unique thing. Now, the concerts, I'm going to start doing those again very soon, probably weekly until this pandemic ends. And you can find me on that fancy camera set up over there or here doing a concert for 90 minutes. That's ticketed. So all this you can do with this, how to become a successful live stream musician. There are many things here. Now, we didn't even talk about Patreon. I have a Patreon, and my Patreon integrates perfectly with my streaming. So all this stuff, I write down all this fun sheet music on stream. We do score studies. We do so much stuff. All this sheet music is available on my Patreon if you're a handwritten sheet music plus tier person. I do exclusive live videos, exclusive weekly videos using this crazy setup that only patrons get. What else do we have? Oh yeah, you get access to certain integrations on Twitch that we have in my specific stream. You get to integrate with my stream, so you get to pay in advance for stuff, to make sure you get access to it during the month. You get shouted out. You get a special Discord channel just for patron subs. So there are ways to not just think of one platform. Think of Patreon, think of Veeps, think of Twitch, think of your master classes at universities, think of your co-writing sessions, think of your podcasts that you're doing. Dude, my podcast mic setup is insane. I've done so many podcasts with this mic. This is where it's at. So there's so much good stuff happening here. Anyway, it is time now. I think we've hit all the points we meant to hit. We have gotten through the 3 W's. Why? Zane even giving this masterclass, but why should I even stream, and where am I going to do it? How do I do it? Well, the how's, creating an inviting environment, making your tech work for you, connecting with your audience. That's how you do it. And now, it's time to pass the mic over to you, the chat. Q&A session starts now. Bring those questions in. I'm watching it, all right? And I'm going to show you that I'm watching. I'll prove it to you. Bam. So I might scroll up and down this chat a little bit, but I'm ready for your questions, and I hope I can be of service. I hope I can help. We have about a half an hour left here. We have a Google Doc, too, with some questions. Great. Now, my dream would be that some people from Sam Ash's YouTube and some people from Sam Ash's Facebook would be asking questions, not just Twitch. But I will entertain all Twitch questions. But I would love to hear who these questions are coming from. I'm hoping Facebook and YouTube are involved in this. I'm not watching this stream anywhere. I'm broadcasting it, okay? Most are copy and pasted questions from here. Got it. Well, if anyone has a live question, we'll also take those right now. But I'm happy to hear some of this Google Doc stuff. Would you guys be open? Restream bot will have the questions post here. Great. Fantastic. Austin on guitar asks, hi, Zane. Can you talk tech about how you jam with your friend Dominic? Great question, Austin. Let's start there. Oh, what's up, Peter? Fellow USC alum. So let's start there. So Austin right here asks, can you talk about how you jam with my friend Dominic? So I did a stream where I jammed live with a musician. Here's the unfortunate situation, okay? So I'm gonna pause. I'm actually gonna go to this clear chat the way that I thought might be fun. So how do I get there? Why am I not seeing down where? Oh, let me fix this scene. So you're gonna watch in real time how a source is fixed, okay? So we're going to scroll this down a little bit lower. Here's why. It's because we want to make sure we get all the questions at the bottom. And this way I can scroll through these questions. There we go. Great. So now that source covers it up and we're good to go. So real quick, let's go to Austin's question. Can you talk about how you jammed with your friend Dominic? So here's why no one's ever going to be able, I shouldn't say ever. Here's why most likely no one's ever going to be able to live jam with a musician for real. That's not with them. Here's why. The speed of light is 360,000 miles per hour. It's very fast, okay? The circumference of the Earth is 24,000 miles. So if you do the math on the speed of light divided by 24,000 miles of the Earth, it actually takes longer than you'd think for light to travel around the Earth. Most of us would think it's instantaneous. It's not. It takes milliseconds. In music, we have delays, guitar pedals that do 10 millisecond delay, 20 millisecond delay, which means milliseconds are enough for our ears to perceive delay, right? A slapback might be 35 milliseconds, maybe 50 milliseconds, right? So if the speed of light, the fastest thing in the known universe and everything travels slower than, cannot travel faster than itself, well then how fast does light travel? How many milliseconds would it take for me with a straight shot, no internet service provider, no ping, no millisecond delay on the ping, direct to New York City? How long would it take? Well, from LA to New York, it would be about 12 milliseconds. Okay? Speed of light can only travel around Earth 7 times in a second. All right? Think about that. That means that it's over 100 milliseconds of delay to come around to itself. Not only are you dealing with the speed of light limit, you're also dealing with internet service providers giving you 5 to 20 milliseconds of ping. It's already too much delay. So, if you want to jam with your friend on stream and collaborate like I did with Dominic, Dom Palombi Music, the incredible drummer himself, one of you has to not be hearing the other. So the way we did the jam, Austin, is Dom streamed and then he muted me. So I was on Discord, no, we weren't even on Discord. He was hearing my stream, he muted me. He played by himself, just a bunch of drum stuff. And then I played over him and I reacted to everything he was doing. He couldn't hear me, but at least half of that conversation was happening. It's like on those TikToks when actors have been doing, here's the lines, I'll read the first line and you act it back. It's just like that. But it was, pretty close to looking live. Now there is a person in New York City named Dan Tepfer who has found a way to make this work only if the musician uses a special application he uses called Jack Trip Audio, and only then if they are within about 3 to 15 miles from his house. Okay? Because then the speed of light bypasses the internet service provider and goes straight peer-to-peer, and even then, because of the routing of the cables and stuff, it takes, 12 milliseconds, 10 milliseconds, which is just enough for it to not really be perceived. So it is possible. I could call my friend in Glendale and be like, dude, you're like 8 miles away. I live in a mansion in Bel Air, just FYI, just kidding. But I could be like, hey, dude, let's jam. You use Jack Trip, I use Jack Trip. We can live jam. There's still going to be 10 milliseconds of latency, but it'll be barely perceptible. So that is possible. But you can't jam with someone in Japan ever unless someone figures out how to travel back in time, quantum style. So anyway, long-winded answer, very mathy answer, great question. Let's keep scrolling down. Could you talk about whether or not you recommend a boom stand setup like you have now? Also, do you recommend preparing a video in advance and then live streaming it? The boom setup I have, so this is a Rode PSA arm, and then this is a blue Kiwi mic. I'm all blue. Every mic I have is blue here. I love this mic. And streamers use blue a lot. I'm actually part of the blue crew on Twitch. I stream through that. So yeah, I found that the Kiwi's the perfect weight for the PSA arm, but also the blue baby bottle or the bottle rocket. They make a lot of different mics that work great with these Rode arms, or you can buy a blue arm. But that's what I use. It attaches to my desk and it allows me to freely move about the cabin. If and when the world opens back up again, a friend can come and be on this mic, which isn't turned on right now, but this is my second mic, I can use that for guitar, I can use it for lots of other stuff. So, do I recommend preparing a video in advance and then live streaming it? Oh yeah, I do recommend working, what am I gonna stream tonight? What's my plan? What's my goal, for sure? Yeah, I do, I have a plan going in. Reeve says, you may have answered this already, but my brother Reeve Carney is asking a question. Do you see what's happening here? Reeve says, you may have answered this already, but how do you so easily and seamlessly switch between your various camera angles? So something happened to that camera. So let me quickly make sure it's on, and then I'll answer that question. Okay, it's definitely on. So there may have just been an issue with the source. All right, cool. So Reeve is asking this question. Let's make sure this source works. For some reason, it was not working earlier. There we go. So the way I'm doing that is I'm using a thing called the Stream Deck XL, okay? So this camera, I can switch between these two camera angles. If I were in cut mode, it would be even more seamless, okay? So I'm in OBS right now doing it manually by my hand, but let's see, where's my standing cam? There you go. So I just quickly do that, and then I go to my main cam, and I go back. So all I'm doing in OBS is switching between scenes. So to make that clearer, I'm gonna go back to the OBS sources thing. I'm just switching between scenes. I just click a scene, and this scene has already prepared all these sources in a certain order, stacked in a certain order. Remember how video works, right? The lowest thing is the thing that's going to get hidden by the stuff on top, okay? That's why my left monitor here, this is beneath it. See how it's literally beneath EOSR? This source is me, and this source is this thing I'm moving. Watch what would happen if I put it on top. Oh, it covers me. So I make sure these sources are all set up, and then they're called scenes. And the scenes are preset. So I'm staying in cut mode right now to quickly show you, you know, this scene is my right monitor. This scene has a display capture around the bottom area beneath my thing where I have my settings. This scene has, whatever, the sources. This scene has my sheet music. So I can do a live lesson or a master class at the college, you know, whatever I want to do with a company, you know, give a lecture, you know. So that's how that works. Now I'm using a Stream Deck. This is a thing made by Elgato Gaming. I've spent so much money on Elgato stuff. They know what they're doing with streaming. And so what I do is I press a button. I programmed this before the stream. I press this button and it goes to that setting. Then I press this button, it goes to this setting. I can also turn off sources. So I can have the chat gone, and then I can turn on the iPad. That's a source. Turn it on and off. I can turn on this browser source of alerts, and then I can press a test. Test that alert. Let's test it. Oh, there it is. There's a test. Okay, so all this stuff is done through a Stream Deck, which basically controls OBS for me. And then instead of doing all this all the time, if I'm smart, I have my setup so that it's like, you know, a button press. It's quieter. It's less jarring. Okay, great question. That's so cool to have Reeve in the chat. Okay, so now let's see. Francisco Keogh says, what are your thoughts on people connecting with you, tech, IT, art, product, help? Okay, so my thoughts, Franco, that's why I did this stream. I think what you're asking, Franco, is what are your thoughts on people, you know, connecting with you? Like, can you help me? Well, here's the truth. I wanted to do this stream because first off, I love Sam Ash. Reeve and I both bought so much stuff there as kids, and then I became a Sam Ash person. So when I buy cables, I go to Sam Ash. So they said, let's do a live stream. I thought, I think this is a really important thing. More friends than ever are writing me saying, how do I do this? So I thought, let's stream it. And then it'll be up on your YouTube and your Facebook as content for Sam Ash forever. But I will say, you know, there's a real thought of mine to at some point, if someone needs help live streaming, I might. I'm an artist. I'm a musician. I'm a songwriter. I'm an actor. I don't really want to get too bogged down with this stuff, but I could see a corporation saying, we need help on making our live streaming culture much more accessible and inviting. And I'd be like, all right, I can consult, and I might do consulting someday sparingly because I want to focus on art. But as you can probably tell from this masterclass, I'm really passionate about learning and curiosity, and I do think I could help pretty much anyone. And most of what I did, by the way, I spent 10 to 15 hours a day starting at the end of March learning this. I didn't do my first stream until a month after research. Ask Adriana, my girlfriend, I spent 2 weeks researching a camera. I'm talking 6 hours a day on YouTube, looking at that lens versus that lens, looking at that body versus that body, looking at that color versus that color, and then I finally dropped some coin on this Canon EOS R with the 35mm lens you saw over there. So I put in the time, and I will say it does take that. If you want to get in this and just have a quick fix, this masterclass gets you up and running, and then you're going to have to be doing it yourself. You know, it's like saying to someone, hey, you taught me how to shoot the basketball. Now I should be in the NBA. It's like, you got to keep practicing. So the only people that really make it as streamers, not as streamers, the only people that really make it as artists, I think, are the ones who really every day show up. And it stinks some days. It's so deflating some days. But you just keep showing up. So long story short, I made this video so I don't have to do one-on-one help with anyone anymore. Here it is. And then if you didn't get everything you need from this, it's because you didn't really want to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? If you didn't get everything you needed from this, it's because you don't want to Google and actually learn and care about your specific setup. Because everything you need to get started is in this, including words and concepts and keywords that you can Google for your own setup on a PC. It's all here. So good question. Luke Villegas asks, my dear friend Luke Villegas, incredible streamer, follow him on Twitch, okay? Incredible musician, incredible person, asks, how do you set up allowing people to request and pay you to play songs? So great question. I didn't cover this and I should have. It's called Streamer Song List. This is one way of doing it. I don't even have the greatest streamer song list. I don't really, update it properly, but here's a streamer song list. So this is a browser source that streamersonglist.com gives you. And I put this browser source in, and whatever's in my queue, streamer song list says, we'll put it in this browser so you can show your fans, show the people engaging with you, right? Again, things are different on stream than they are in a concert. In a concert, people are there drinking, talking to their buddies. There's so much for them to do. They're just like, I don't know what song this is. Radiohead's not playing their set list being like, in Rainbow's song 8, nude. Because you're doing stuff at a concert. You're dancing with friends. People watching a streamer at home. You got to put yourself in their shoes for a second. They're at home. They may be with a loved one, but they're probably not. So they're, if you're like me, I twiddle my thumbs waiting for a Mario tennis match. I'm like, I got to do something. The era we're in, the casualty of the era we're in. So we got to give them something to look at and understand. So this stuff helps them go, I see what's happening. I initially thought it was annoying. I'm like, why does everyone need to know everything I'm doing? But then again, if I'm watching CNN and they're just having a weird interview for a minute and a half, I go, what is this about? It helps me to get context. This is Dr. So-and-so from this university. This is our version of that, right? And it can look as icky and tacky as you want, and it can look as glorious as you want. In my opinion, this looks tacky, but it is what it is for now for me, and I'll one day maybe pay a proper graphic designer to make it just incredibly elegant. It is what it is. So streamersonglist.com, log in with your Twitch in there in the streamer song list, and then you're gonna whatever song you put in there, I think you can make it so they automatically put it in. I haven't done that yet. My mods do it for me, but I think with a little bit of Googling you'll be able to figure out how to do it, and it's a great feature that people love. Folksy Fox asks, how do you find someone to make emotes? I actually made a lot of the emotes myself. Ashlyn Namaho, who made our beautiful Stinger transition, she also made some emotes, but I made a lot of them myself. And if you want, I could even show you my process. So I have the iPad Pro. A lot of people have iPads. Now Apple Pencil works with a lot of other iPads, so you could actually do this yourself. But I came in and I drew my own emotes in Procreate, I think, and then eventually in my Sketchpad, and I don't remember where I put it, but I hand drew them. I hand drew a lot myself. I think if you're on Twitch right now watching, it won't show up in the restream chat that you're seeing here. But yeah, if you put up any emote there, you're gonna see emotes I drew. Like the Live Learn one, I think I drew. I definitely drew a few. I drew the Jam one. I drew, and emotes for those. Also, Talk to Me Baby I drew. Thank you, Laura. A lot of people love emotes. It's another thing you can do to engage with your audience is make sure you have emotes. So they're using your special emotes, and they feel like they're with you. They're connecting with you. I mean, how is that any different than Sting selling a hoodie? So instead of looking down on this streaming thing, let's look at it as a fun opportunity to connect with people who need us right now. I'm not trying to be too strong about that, but the people need music right now, and you could be that person helping them through a tough time. People who roll their eyes about streaming as musicians, this is dumb. It's like, man, you're missing the whole point, in my opinion. It's about connecting with people and helping them. That's what our job is as artists. That's the calling we've been given. Okay. What if you use Zoom to do it? Oh, I'm way back on this, aren't I? I can travel back in time. I'm way behind. Maybe I should scroll down. How to be a good streamer. You are a good streamer, Depart. I denounce that. You're amazing. I love hearing you sing on your stream while you're playing Valorant. Those still sound great. Thanks to that LA2A. That's right, that sound guy. How does the Stream Deck connect to OBS? I'm so behind. I'm gonna scroll way down. Maybe we're good now. Is there a way? Okay. Okay. Ben Spivak has two. Oh, Ben, I love Ben. So if you guys don't know Ben's music, you should be. He has a single coming out right now. I forget the title of it, Ben. Maybe you can remind us. But Ben is a solo artist, songwriter, and also a bassist in a band you might have heard of called, I don't know, Magic, as in Why You Gotta Be So Rude. An incredible, just a lovely man who also has a beard. And he has two questions. One, what's wrong with using the Canon USB connection versus capture card? Great question. It can only USB-C out of this camera. The way the camera is, it has to process all that data itself while it's capturing the image, so it has a throughput that's not as high as the HDMI out. The HDMI out says, yeah, just take the image, whereas the USB actual cable there is like, oh, we got to encode this for you too. Like, we got to make sure this is digitized perfectly. HDMI out's like, sorry, we got to just take the HDMI out. So you're allowing the capture card to do all of the transcoding, as it's called, I believe. And then that goes into your computer, and then that's encoded by your processor. So you're removing a step by doing the HDMI out. If you do the USB, there's that. Number two, it's still in beta mode, if I'm not mistaken. So there's some glitchiness. I think maybe it only does 30 frames a second. It's like, no. Why would I get this great camera and not use it? It's almost like saying, yeah, man, I bought a 1952 Nocaster. Oh, I can't wait to play it through my digital freaking 1980s, terrible audio analog to digital converter. It's like, dude, you're taking that guitar and you're not going to plug that into an actual vintage Fender amp. That's fine. I like combining disparate things, but I think there is an element of, I probably should, make this look and sound as good as it can, make this camera look as good as it can. Number two, Ben asks, what if I want to record my live stream audio through Logic as a multi-track? Great question. I could do that right now if you want. I could show you how to do it. So it's very simple. We're in Pro Tools. Let's go to the Pro Tools thing. So I'm in Pro Tools, okay, right now. This is a track I've already consolidated, already bounced. It's getting mixed right now by the mixing engineer. For some reason, it is tripping out. Cool. So I'm going to go to the end here, and I'm going to go into, let's go to vocals here. Let's go to the mix window, okay? And I'm going to pick let's see, where's the Kiwi? The Kiwi's on the Snaps channel. So this Kiwi, as you can see right here, okay, the Kiwi, which is, I've already routed it through my whole I.O. setup so that all my 8 mics or 10 mics that I have that are always on, not always on, they're just always available. They're always XLR plugged in. I have it ready. So we're on the Snaps channel. Let's mute it real quick so it doesn't feedback and get latent. And let's mute this music. And let's turn this on. Oh, it's doing that thing again. Oh, when I go back and forth between displays, there's a apparent glitch. Okay, great. Record. Watch this level. That's the mic. That's the mic. Scratch it. There it is. That's the mic. So I'm gonna record something real quick. So I'm in weird. There's like a weird visual glitch happening in here. I've never run Pro Tools this way where the mix and windows are up in the top left, whatever. So I think I'm on the right track. Oh, geez. I see. It's cause, let me just close the mixing window. That's causing us trouble. I can't even close it? Come on, man. For reals, though? All right, well, that might have fixed it. No, it didn't. Well, again, I've never run it this exact way. What I did today is I made this monitor 1080p so that you can see every single minutia and detail that I want you to see. I normally run this monitor, I think, halfway to 4K because I like to be able to see it from far away. Anyway, let's just click 3. Okay, hold on. Isn't 3 how you record? Or maybe isn't it 3? Oh, this 3. There you go. And we're recording. And let's zoom out because that is way too close. Great. So I'm recording right now, Ben. I'm recording. Great, let's play it back and prove it. So we'll go here, we'll unmute it. And again, I just don't want to hear the latent, playback, right? Oh, geez. Whenever I change between, I have to keep going back and forth. Great, there we go. All right, here we go. Let's listen to it. I'm recording. So the beautiful thing about OBS is it's just taking my streaming audio from loopback, right? That's all it's doing. So this, basically OBS, when you take a source, audio source, I should say, it doesn't go, oh, I held on to that. It's just like, yeah, I'm just taking that source. you can also say to Pro Tools, hey, can you also take this source? So that source can be placed in Logic and Pro Tools and OBS recording simultaneously. In fact, I'm doing a really cool thing. I can't say who it's for yet, but I'm doing, I can't even say what it is yet, but I'm doing a cool thing for a company to talk about the release of my record Alter Ego, right? That's coming out April 30th. And so what I'm doing is I'm recording multiple camera angles live into OBS. The way I'm doing it is similar to what I'm describing to you audio-wise. I'm going to have QuickTime open, and one source will be recording video from this camera. That's QuickTime. Then that camera over there, the other fancy camera, that'll be recorded by OBS. And then if I want a third camera, that'll be recorded by Streamlabs. Final Cut, I think. Yeah, you can basically pull up different apps and say, take different sources. Or the same source even. So while streaming audio is sitting to here, Pro Tools is like, yo, I'm Pro Tools. I freaking have a whole set of inputs and outputs and buses. Give me them inputs, outputs, and buses. It's recording at the same time. So I hope that answers your question. So what I've done streams where I'm doing live performances on Veeps and I'm recording multi-audio while streaming. So I'm in Pro Tools running my baby blue bottle with the B0 or B8 capsule, depending on the day. And then I'm running 2 mics in the closet. Then I'm running an acoustic guitar mic, and I can do a mix after. It's fantastic. So some interviews I've done, I just recorded Joe Bonamassa's podcast, and I think on that it was just conversation, so never mind. But I could have recorded, if I did audio examples, all my stuff and send him a mix down where I mute my voice during certain spots, or I get rid of the room mic, etc. So long story short, use your DAW as is, and it'll work just fine. And just heed my advice on the X264 encoding settings, because this uses a lot of processing power, Pro Tools. So either use a hardware encoder, buy an eGPU, put it in an enclosure. The AMD Radeon 5700 XT is the highest card I think that works with the Mac. So get that card, put it in an eGPU, and then stream to Twitch using the hardware encoder. If you're on a Mac Mini, good luck to you. And then run Pro Tools. If not, do 720p, 30 frames a second. It's fine. As long as the lighting and stuff's nice, oh my gosh, forget about it. Okay, cool. So there's a way for us to set up automatically. Streamer Silence, got to do that. My girlfriend uses Canva, another great spot. Yeah, Canva's great on the iPad. Ooh, how do you go about procuring dedicated mods? Do you pay them? They're pretty dope, by the way. I love my mods, James. So I've looked into this a lot to see what's ethical and fair. So mods, especially on Twitch, they're people that have access not to your entire channel. They can't stream from your stream key, but they can make modifications in chat. I've had a few people, I think we have 7 mods. That's way more mods than a channel my size has. So someone like Ninja might have 10 mods, right? He has, I don't know, 30, I guess right now probably 10,000 to 35,000 viewers. Also, we should talk about in-ear monitors in a sec. We should also talk about that. But anyway, he pays his mods. My understanding is when you're making enough money to where it's just like glorious, insane profit, then you can start affording to pay certain people and pay mods. In general, with new streamers like you'll be, any musician streamer, you'll technically not need a mod right away. If people are generous and love it and love being in the community and want to have that experience, then they can do it. But I will say, if everyone tomorrow said, dude, I can't mod anymore, I'm too busy, it's like work for me, I'd say I totally get it and I love you, and please just sit back and enjoy and don't worry about it. I'll mod myself and I'll do stuff. So I'm not at a place yet where my stream would completely fall apart. Now the chat might get kind of toxic and I'd have to be distracted. And there's a huge service my mods are providing. So many things. They put the songs in the streamer song list. They remind me of things. It's so great. But if you get to a point where the stream cannot go on without one, you probably already have enough viewership to where you need to pay a mod, right? Number one. Number two, procuring them, I think it's just as simple as that. You just make an inviting space like we talked about and make the stream, have connect with the audience, and people will probably show up and say, I really enjoy being here. I want to be a mod. You know what? I'm a mod in Charles Jones Music is a stream. I'm a mod. So when I watch his stream, if someone's doing some weird stuff, I go, delete. Charles is my roommate. He's my friend. I love his streams. So when I'm watching, I might just be having it on in the background and I'm doing some emails and he's on and I go, oh. So I'm not like, hey dude, I'm modded for you. You need to pay. I'm like, oh, no, this is how it works. We kind of all look out for each other until the chat's so crazy that you truly have to pay mods. And I hope that time is coming soon, because I love my mods. Okay. How's my checklist? Nice emotes. What is Sam Ash's YouTube? Oh yeah, just Sam Ash. Yes. Okay. Yes, awesome. Happy to hear capture cards change your life. Oh, great. Jess Carroll 929 asks, Zane, what best ring lights do you recommend getting? So this is a great question because I talked about spotlighting and different Amazon lights you can buy. LED lights are what I use. They're cooler. I'm not sweating over here. So I just buy the cheap stuff, the newer NEEWER. And if you're going to use a ring light, what I might suggest is put the camera not in the center. So if you're going to have a nice camera or an iPhone camera, the ring light thing looks very TikTok-y. It doesn't actually translate as well as you'd think on camera. So on a nice camera. So I'd suggest putting it off center and get a little shadow. That shadow is actually going to look nicer than straight on your face. So I have a ring light that I was using over here as it was going to light up my Zane Carney thing. I have to find a new lighting scenario for that so people can really see that. But great question. Bitrate is really dumbed down with the ES capture, exactly. No pay. Been carried away. Have patient increase. Any more questions? Command. James Harper. Love it. Exactly, James. I think it got answered there. They do volunteer once you have consistent viewers. You could also ask someone, does anyone want to just have mod capabilities? You don't have to mod, but like, do you want to have that status? And some people think, wow, I'm cool. I'm a mod now. Just like I feel when I'm in Charles's streams. Like, I'm cool. Are we monitoring through the Apollo console? Yes, middle pickup. So we already talked about this, but let's remind everyone. So I don't use a DAW. I am not doing any of my effects through a DAW. Why? Because Universal Audio, this is why I prefer this versus any other interface. They make cheap interfaces, by the way. If you're just using one mic, get an Apollo Twin or something cheaper. I mean, cheap might be the wrong word, but they make things that are much more affordable than a huge, 16-channel interface. So all these things you see on here, Neve 1084, LA2A Gray, LA2A Silver, these are real time. They're Unity. So watch what happens if I turn off this compressor. Watch. I'm a lot quieter. You can barely hear me. Hey, check 1, 2. Hey. And I turn it back on. Oh, I'm so loud. This is really compressing my mic to make sure it's clear. Now, to be fair, that mic over there was also on, which I could turn off right now. So now the mic over, see, I changed the room sound. Now it's a quieter stream. Okay? So that's because, here's the compression off. You can still hear me, but now you can really hear me. Okay? So I love having plugins right there. No processing power, no latency. I can perform live. I'm not getting paid to say this. I can't stress that enough. I highly recommend, if you're serious about music streaming, getting a Universal Audio piece of gear. All of your plugins will be happening with no latency, no perceptible latency at least. That is such a game changer because not only are you saving CPU processing power, you're not opening up Logic or Pro Tools or Reason or Live and then putting plugins on that. You're also getting no latency. So the CPU usage down, which you need to stream, right? You need that CPU to be able to stream, or your GPU as well. That's off the plate. It's just this app right here. And everything's happening in Unity, right? I'm going to turn that room mic back on purely because we're used to that sound at this point. But I want to remark upon another quick thing. I'm using in-ear monitors. So a lot of professional musicians have these in-ear monitors. This gives you a decisive advantage because you can look like you're just hanging out there with me. No headphone. Doesn't feel like I'm a streamer. It feels like you're literally chilling with me. So if you have in-ear monitors, I recommend them. If you don't, you can get generals, generics. It's a good move. If you have customs, wow, you're really ready to go. This is why I wanted to make this masterclass, because a lot of my friends have all you need to stand out as a live streamer, which again, we're doing as a kind of temporary thing that's actually going to give us tools moving forward. We can now do so many cool things now that we've learned how to stream. So great question. What else was I going to say? Yeah, so I'm monitoring through here. And I use cues. So real quick, if I want to get a little nerdier, these, how do I do this? I'm trying to remember. Cue outputs. Great. So this is very nerdy, but these are my cue outputs. So what this means is Q1, which is this. Okay, hold on. Q1, which is this. Remember Q1? That's my headphone mix, Zane's headphone mix. If I had a friend over here, I'd plug them into a different output and they'd be on Q2. And they could have their own mix, just like you do at a gig, right? This is confusing stuff if you don't know audio routing, but it gets simpler if you just show up and try and practice. So my Q outputs, watch this. I could make Q1, see how it says Q1 right here? I could make it Q1, meaning that thing you just saw. I could make my Q2 have the same mix as Q2 as you saw. I could also make it have the mix. So I could be listening to exactly what you guys are hearing. Guess what? It sounds the same because everything I've muted down here has already been muted up here. It sounds the same. But if I had someone here in my headphones on my video call output on Discord, on Zoom, I would not be able to hear them right now. But now I can because they're only coming through that queue. And there's an important thing to make mention of that I did not do yet. So let me show you. How, if I have a Discord call or a Zoom call only in my ears and I've muted them everywhere else from my Mac audio, how am I hearing them? How are you hearing them? Here. Videos, calls, Final Cut. So I'm going to turn this off right now. And you're going to see something happen in Zoom. Or let's see. Let's do a test tone in Zoom. So I'm opening Zoom right now. You can't see it. Going to Preferences. Okay. I'm going to do Test Speaker. Nothing's happening there. See Video Calls, Final Cut? Nothing's happening there. Okay. And actually, I'm not hearing it either. Huh. Let me see real quick. I might have messed something up. I clearly messed something up. Video Calls, Final Cut Pro. Oh, the test audio doesn't play through it for some reason. Well, whatever. Long story short, if someone were to call me right now on Discord, you would hear them on this stream purely because of this. This is Advanced Audio or Properties. This is the Video Calls Final Cut Pro source, if that makes sense. So what I can do is hear it in my headphones and then not send it back to that person who's on Discord or Zoom or Skype and then turn it on here for you guys. And what I do, check this out. I go to Advanced Audio Properties. I mute the output. So I'm sorry. I turn the monitor off, which means I'm not hearing it coming. Only you guys are hearing this source. So this is a very tricky solution to make sure other people can hear your Discord call. You do the thing I said earlier in the stream where you create the loop back and you mute Discord as an application and you send it to 1718 or whatever your virtual input is. Then you mute that input so it's not coming back feedback loop to them. You only hear it. And then here in Discord, you send it back to Discord. To OBS. In OBS, you send it back to OBS, but you mute. You mute the monitor off. Meaning I'm not hearing it happening here. Because if I heard it happening here, it would be coming through my Mac. And if it's coming through my Mac, remember what we already agreed upon, if it's coming through my Mac, it's unmuted because that's how people are hearing stuff. And then it's going to feedback. So this is a very specific way to get Discord audio showing up on the Mac to your stream and in your ears, but it's separate. I hope that made sense. If you rewind that enough, I think it will definitely make sense. It's a very, very technical solution for what should be a stupidly simple situation. I don't know why the speaker is not... Oh, there it is. That was loud and bizarre sounding. Let's turn that down. Yeah, it's just being weird. Not Zoom. It's the test speaker thing is being weird. So you heard it for a second. We all heard it. I'm turning off the Video Calls Final Cut Pro now, but you heard that. Okay, we're almost done here. Let's go back to the thing. I saw that print off above. I do like how the cursor gets bigger. Okay, I hope I can find modules. You all have the best. Okay, Ben Smith, I'm sold in the capture card. This masterclass is so dope. My newest single is called Energy from the Past, and it came out last week. I love you, Ben. Mac is more familiar to him as well. Was there a question about that? What's the best ring lights? Yeah, so there might be a question here real quick. Someone probably asked, why did I stream on a Mac if it's so much better on PC? I actually tried streaming in boot camp, and the only reason I gave up is because Universal Audio, as much as I love this process, the ASIO drivers, it's not as good as loopback. Loopback on a Mac is better, and audio to me was the most important thing. So at that point I decided I'm not going to abandon Universal Audio. It's the best sounding situation for live streaming, not even close. I can have all these plugins on all the time. Like, forget, it's a non-starter. I need my Universal Audio, and there's an issue with routing a certain way in a fancy way with Discord, and So I decided staying in Mac. And then I kept streaming enough to the point where it was like, this is an investment. I'm going to buy a Mac Pro. I'm doing more film composition. I'm doing more jazz composition. I'm needing more layers, more reverbs, more plugins. Even though I'm not a mixing engineer, I'm preparing things for mixers with a lot of plugins, a lot of stuff. So I needed to have that power. Plus, I'm streaming while I'm doing it. Some of my streams, I'm doing production work on stream. And you're seeing it happen. I need to be able to have Mac Pro. So I dropped, an investment is what it was. You need a very powerful Mac. Now they have silicon Macs coming out. In probably 2-3 years, I'll probably upgrade this Mac to the Mac Silica. It's going to be so crazy. They are so much faster. They're going to wipe the floor with PCs. Mark my words, for streaming especially, Mac's going to be the way to go because the processing is going to be so crazy with X264 that, like, why would you even use NVIDIA? That's my guess. Okay, where did ring lights? Okay. Yes. Any more questions from are there questions from YouTube, from Facebook? Because I know that Facebook, Sam Ash gets a lot of views of these Facebook posts. And I'm wondering if people are watching live. There it is, the biggest one. Oh, you're sweet, Olivia. Okay, Anthony, what was your question? You said if you can see if you scroll up to earlier, but what was the question? Hopefully you said it again later. Any thoughts or advice on how to do a starting soon screen, Zane? I'm always having trouble trying to do it to make it work. Do I either use Streamlabs to do it or Twitch Studio? Great question. I've never used Twitch Studio. Twitch Studio, you just go into their website and you stream through there. I've never done that. I use OBS, as you guys saw, right? Let's talk about stream starting screens, okay? So I'm going to go into the OBS sources. Again, Ashlyn Namaho crushed these starting screens. So when I click starting scene right here, it's going to do my stinger transition into a start screen. You'll still be able to hear my voice. Check it out. So transition into my start screen. It just says stream starting soon. You'll find at the end of this stream, we're not done yet, it'll go into the thank you for coming, okay? I gotta say, these things are not as important as I once made them. I actually paid a lot of money at one point to make even a bunch of different stream starting screens, live guitar sessions starting, live recording sessions starting, all these different starts, beginnings, middles. And it turned out most big-time streamers don't even use these things. Unless you have a truly scheduled performance where you're on a ticketed platform, the second you turn on your stream, people actually want to see you right away. So I'm shaving down my start screen times right now. I might stop using start screens. Once I'm on. Hey guys, welcome, come on in. Because they want to see me, right away. And I want to see my people I watch on stream right away. Yes, multiple mics with plugins, it's radical. It makes a difference. It really does. Virtual mixer. Yes, Young Hyon. But also the same concepts apply on the Go XLR. Okay, Don Nelson, this is all encouraging because we can see that tech glitches happen to the best of us. Yes, they do. Instead of something like loopback, I ran 2 extra outputs out of my sound card back into 2 extra inputs to route the OBS from Ableton that way. Duncan, fantastic solution. We talked about that. I didn't do that because I actually need 8 mics running. I need these 2 on the desk. I need the 2 on my guitar amp. I need the 2 up here. That's already 6. Then I need 2 inputs for my aux box, right? So I can be running my guitar late at night at super loud volumes. Then I have 10 mics. So how did I do this? What else is there? Then I needed I have a lapel mic that I use for acting auditions and things of that nature. And so that's ready to go whenever I need it. And then I have an extra room mic, a Blue Dragonfly. So I have all these mics set up, so I couldn't afford to lose 2 inputs. But Duncan, that's all I'm doing. You're doing analog, what I'm doing digitally. Correct. Yeah, Twitch Studio, I haven't heard good things. I don't know anything about it. Okay, see you, Manchita. That's true, Proud, and it does give people a chance to. The starting screens are nice for some people. I think for me, recently I watched an Andy Milanakis stream, and it was so nice that the second he started, I was like, oh, he's there. That's so cool. I don't have to wait. Like, I'm busy. I'm bored already. I'm going to leave. So it depends on the streamer and the content, in my opinion. Can't stay long. I have tons of homework. Yes. Hey, Zaxy. So another question, what's the best mic to use when starting a stream for beginners? So in my opinion, it depends. Are you looking for a USB mic? If you're looking for a USB mic, I would suggest the Blue Yeti. You've seen a lot of those. They're like they have like I I have one back there somewhere, I think. Because they stand on your desk, so they're easy. You don't need a mic stand. And if you compress them the right way, you're good to go. That's a USB mic. If you're going the XLR route, which is what I personally would recommend, then I would get this mic right here. We talked about it on stream. Let me actually pull it down and show you how it sounds. So I'm going to mute this mic, okay? And I'm going to turn this mic on. So this mic right here is over $2,000. Well, it's $2,000 mic, right? Before tax and stuff. This is a $299 mic. In my opinion, this sounds like totally like a podcast. We're ready. And I haven't even gotten these settings perfect. Okay. This is called, I'm actually tripping because I want to call it the baby bottle, but I think this is the bottle rocket. I should Google that really quickly because I've forgotten in recent years that this is the baby bottle blue mic. I think it's the baby bottle. It's $400 if this is the baby bottle. Yeah. Whereas the bottle rocket, let me see what the difference is. Bottle rocket blue mic. Yeah, no, this is not the bottle rocket. No, this is the baby bottle. It's $400, but it sounds so good on guitars. It sounds so good on voice. It's like we're talking like there should be a huge difference here, and there's not. There's a difference, but I also have this EQ differently. I think I have an API Vision on here versus like the fancier Neve 1084 on here and the LA2A Gray. I could also watch this. I could just add top end. So check this out. There's more top end. Now there's more top. Now there's more top end, right? And I can pull it back down to where it was. In fact, I might prefer more top end on this. It makes it sound a little more fancy, So I just went to 10K. I boosted that 6 dB. I can go to 12.5K. It's a little more of a rounded top end, There are many ways to make your mic sound great. And if you have a universal audio situation, you're good. Any mic you can make sound so good. And it does have a little more low. And I've boosted the 400 about 2 decibels. So you're right. But I might keep that setting. But let's go back to this. All right. So this is a more expensive sound. This has more top end. It's more, in my opinion, this is a better mic, but it's $2,000. And if I get close, that low end's right back there. And I could even boost that low end if I wanted to. Good call, Adrian. Bones, I've never done that on a stream. So here's the thing. The reason why this is a specific 3-hour, we're about to end it, 3-hour masterclass is because I don't really want to get into the world of doing tech demo videos and all this stuff. What you've learned from this masterclass is that it takes caring, and you do have to know some tech. But I hope I took away a lot of that thinking for you. It should be a lot easier to get started after this masterclass. In theory, you could do everything you need from this masterclass. But if you want to keep going like I do, I'll keep learning new things. So I don't really want to get too deep in the business of doing gear reviews and tech demos. I want to be making art, and I wanted my friends who are musicians, who I love and care about, to be able to make that art, right? So being able to make art means you have to have enough tech know-how in this current climate where an IT guy can't come over, not safely anyhow. You got to make sure that that you know what you're doing. And so you do need people who help you with tech demos. I just don't want to be that person. I want to be the person writing the songs, composing, scoring, creating, improvising. That's what I want to be. So what was I going to say? How did you figure all this out? Honestly, Gary, like everything else in my life, I'm a very determined person. And when things shut down, I refused to let that shut me down. So I got curious, and I focused on the things that were new and exciting and curious to me. And when I did that, it led to just going down Google rabbit holes. Now, I know enough of the terminology of tech stuff to understand what to Google. Most musicians do not. So that's why I wanted to come on here and be helpful. I hope I was. The new messages coming in from the top is weird. Yeah, I know. It's just whatever. It is what it is. I could change that actually pretty quickly. But is it that big of a deal? Watch here, I'll change it. So I go to the bottom now. Now they're on the bottom. If I refresh this chat, I have to refresh. So I'm going into my browser source, and I'm doing chat, restream chat, and I'm double clicking on it, and I'm refreshing the cache. And now the cache is refreshed. So now new messages come from the bottom. This chat is ready to display messages. So start typing. The Mac Mini did cause a lot of issues. But I know on Twitch we're used to seeing them come from the bottom up. I remember when you started streaming, literally most of your streams were spent troubleshooting. Good times, exactly, Daniel Garcia. So it took me time, and I wanted to pass along the savings to everyone else. How to become a Twitch partner, asked Milo Ortez. Well, you create content that make people excited and they keep showing up, and then you get noticed by Twitch Music, or you have 75 concurrent viewers for a month straight, I think. That's a big number. So it takes a while, but I was lucky that I brought an audience from the real world. I brought an audience as a guitar player, as a musician, as a composer, as a front man, as a band member. So I think my first stream I was able to get 25, 30 people to show up, which is a big deal. And then I built from there, and then I got rated and got noticed. So I hope that answers your question. Was there a Google Doc that had other questions that were very important that I missed? Because if there was, I wouldn't mind answering one or two more questions before we wrap this up. DM by Laura. Great. So I'm going into Discord. I'll do some rapid fire. I'm looking right now. So I'm in my Discord right now. So I'm in my Discord. Check it out. Well, I won't show you. I won't dox them. But they sent me a masterclass Google Doc, and I'm reading it right now. So I'm going to read this. I've answered some of them. Yes, and Duncan. Okay, so let's do rapid fire here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to open this Google Doc, okay? And we're going to show you the left monitor, which should be right here. Yeah, okay. I guess we should go into the left monitor main. We haven't done this at all yet. I didn't know that I'd need it during this. How do I get in there? I don't know if I think it's this. We're going to find out if this scene, I didn't create this scene because I didn't think we'd need it. Nope, that's not it. Well, it kind of is. Let's fix it. So right now we're just live on stream fixing this source. See how you're seeing infinity? Okay, that's because you're looking at OBS, which I'm also looking at, and it's creating an infinite loop, like a mirror, Hall of Mirrors type vibe. So I'm cutting that off. Again, on Mac, you use display capture. Just trust me on that. Do not use window capture. So I'm cropping it myself. Cropping all this myself. And now you're seeing, I'm going to make it look like the same aspect ratio as what we're streaming. And let's turn off these subs and donation goals, because that's a whole different thing for Twitch only. And let's drag this down. Great. And then we're going to drag this over. So this is how OBS works. You're just building your scene. You guys get it, right? This is how it works. Let's make this go higher so we can drag it more. Great. Beautiful. Okay, so these are some last rapid fire questions. Duncan asks, is the reason to go PC because you can get a lot more power? Yes. Only problem is they're noisy. They are noisy machines. So if you're a music streamer, you need silence. Listen to my room. It's very quiet in here. It's so quiet, in fact, that it almost sounds like someone did that on purpose. I did. I bought a computer that's incredibly silent. The 2019 Mac Pro basically runs silent. But let's say I had my Mac Mini. Well, I would have put it in this closet where my Wi-Fi router, which goes very imperceptible to a non-musician. To a musician, it's deafening. I moved my hard drives, which aren't even on usually, but when they are on, the fans ramp up. No, I don't hear any sound in this room. They're in my closet right next to me. So I can crank up this gain. Listen how quiet I can be. I'm rubbing my hands 6 feet away. You can hear it still. So this room has been dialed and quiet. PC's loud. And if you're a music streamer, you want to have quiet in the room so you can perform your art dynamically. So that's why Macs actually in some ways are better, but the Mac laptops are noisy. So you got to find the balance and find some way to make it all work. And one way to do it with a laptop would be put the laptop in the other room, run an HDMI monitor cable to a separate room, and that will be silent. So there are different ways to solve this problem. How do I ignore or deal with trolls as a music streamer? I have great mods. I'm so grateful to you all, and they stop trolls a lot of times. But it hurt me in the beginning because I thought, man, this is so debasing. I used to play on stage, Carney opened for U2 in front of 75,000 people. And I played Rock in Rio in front of about 80,000 people. And I'm like, wow, this is ridiculous, man. I shouldn't have, or maybe it wasn't 80,000. It was a lot of people. Point is, oh man, I'm sitting here playing to 13 people and they're judging me and oh, this is awful. But what I've learned to do is realize this is a process, and this is so much better than not having the skill of being a musician and being able to collaborate and create. Like, I'd rather be able to try to connect with people than to not even know how to play music. So I try to count my blessings. And when trolls come in, I try to remember that I actually am offering something special here. Okay. Annette asks, does it have to be an iPhone? Android works too. Android works just as well. Any phone that has a connector that you can translate into HDMI, just Google it. Google your phone. How do I capture card it? You know, how do I get an HDMI signal out of my phone and then put that into a capture card? Good to go. Peter Guitar, could you talk about whether or not you recommend a boom stand setup like you have now? I totally recommend this. We already answered your question. Franco, what are your thoughts on... Okay, we already answered that. Anthony, what's the best mic to start with? We talked about that. If USB, the only problem is you will not be able to add compression in those things. So try to buy a Blue Yeti that has some compression settings in it. I believe they make one. And then as far as the XLR, I already told you, get that baby bottle. How's my checklist before streaming? Great question. I have a lot going on before I stream. So you saw a bit of it before I made this screen. I display captured it, but when I'm normally streaming, I'm looking at the camera. There's also OBS up here. Then there's a chat window here. Then in the bottom left-hand corner, it's normally Spotify, which I can use during the show or after and to start. Then I have a YouTube thing up here that I can bring videos in like we're doing right now. You're seeing what's normally me pulling in YouTube videos. See? So you're seeing it, and I'll play the video. You know, I can make that small or big depending on the scene. But then now we're here. So I have all these things dialed in and preset. And then over here on my right side, I tend to have my console to look at, usually in a higher resolution, so I can fit more stuff on there. And then I have 2 websites, so I can look at my Streamlabs, look at my streamer song list. I have 2 monitors. I have a third monitor up here, which is a chat window and another window projection of what you're seeing here. So in OBS, you can project. It's called a window projection. You can project. So I have what I'm seeing here on OBS projecting on my monitor over there where I perform concerts, my monitor up here where I stand up and talk to the audience normally, and I'm seeing it here. So there's a ton happening, and I try to keep it as locked as possible so I can focus on connecting and making music, you know? And I forget to do stuff before streaming. I forget to change my stream title, which is actually very important. I forget I'm playing the wrong game. I'm supposed to be playing music, but I had Mario Maker 2 up because I ended my stream last night with it. Oh, I forgot to promote it on Instagram. I forgot to promote it on Discord. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's better, in my opinion, than doing nothing. And if your expression right now as an artist, as a musician, is writing, co-writing, and using, great, you're good. But if you're sitting at home going, I can't even create, I need community to create, do what we're doing here. Learn how to live stream from this masterclass. Rewind it, play it over. You have everything you need in this, truly, to get started. You really do. How does the Stream Deck connect to OBS? Asks Ala Amanta. USB. To USB-C to USB-A. I have a hub back here, and it's plugged into that. It's just simple USB. Yeah. So I like the XL because I actually do a lot of sources. I rarely use the Stream Deck, to be frank. I use my hands a lot. I'm just clicking and setting stuff up last minute. But setting this up for the stream today really helped me, and so I'm gonna get deeper into it when I can find the time. Okay, what else is there to say? What else is there? How important is BTTV to the chat? It's not that important. It's very fun. BTTV are these emotes that I still know very little about. They're very specific to Twitch community, and they're active. They are movable GIFs, basically. They're emotes that appear as GIFs. They move. So yeah, that's something that it's not that important to me. It's important to the chat, though. They love it. They love having BTTV. And it's pretty simple to set up. You just Google how to set up BTTV in my chat, and it links to your Twitch, and it's a whole thing. Oh, thank you for following. Oh, I need to turn off alerts, though. My bad. Because this is for Sam Ash and YouTube and Facebook. Okay, so How important are commands in the chat? Very important, in my opinion. So for those watching on YouTube or Facebook, you're not going to be able to experience this, I don't think. But on Twitch, we can hit an exclamation point and then hit a word after it. And if I have set that up with my Nightbot, so Nightbot is this bot you create, right? We should actually talk about this. This is a great question. This is a very, very good question. So what I'm going to do right now is go over to my Twitch chat. So you're going to see you're not going to see Restream. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you're going to go, what is this? Remember how we had the chat earlier? Well, now it's Twitch. So if I were over here, this is what you guys were seeing earlier. Now it's Twitch. So on Twitch, if it goes all the way down, it doesn't really, I can hit a command such as mom. So I hit exclamation point mom, and then Nightbot, who's a bot that I granted access to my chat, Nightbot goes, it responds. It goes, hey everyone, Mama Carney's in the chat. Comb your hair, shave, because she prefers your beautiful face, and give her some love. Who wrote that? I wrote that command. Nightbot is mostly me and also my mods. But so I make jokes, and the way that you bring that joke up is you hit exclamation point mom, right? There are other commands, like if I said exclamation point gear, you can now see here's my gear that I use. It needs to be updated a little bit, but it has the Universal Audio 8P. It has my camera. It has the lens I use, mostly. Has the mics. What's another command you might want to call up? You might want to know what my Patreon is. You type in command Patreon. That gives a link to my Patreon, right? And you can see, how it says I have a Patreon that integrates perfectly with my Twitch streams. You get exclusive weekly vids, all my Twitch sheet music, a monthly Zoom hang, access to my Patreon-only Discord channel, and much, much more. So this is good. When I title my stream, I'll title it, making music today, command Patreon. And while I'm playing, people go, what's command Patreon? They type it. Oh, I'll give him $5 a month. I'll give him $20, $25 a month. I'll be part of his Patreon. So it's a very helpful tool to have these commands. And what you do is you go to Nightbot, okay? I'm not sure if I can show you because it might give away passwords and private sensitive information, but you go into Nightbot.tv, I think is what it is, or .com. You link your Twitch account to it, and then you go here into your Twitch chat, and you hit /mod, and then you turn Nightbot into a mod. So I can say, let's mod Nightbot. It's already modded. So it'll say Nightbot's already been granted privileges. Nightbot is already a moderator of this channel. By making Nightbot a moderator, it can now be called into action. And you can put any sort of hilarious commands. Some are on timers, some are not. If you want to join my Discord, heck, you hit command Discord, and now you know where it is. So a lot of times people join my Discord when I'm playing music. They're just like, oh, yes, Discord, I want to hang out. Let's all hang out after the stream. And what's cool about the Discord is, we already talked about many blessings from it. One is that not only are you connecting with your audience this bi-directionally, they're also connecting with each other. It's like being at a concert. People go, oh, this guy's awesome. I like this. You need that in this space, in this digital space, some sort of gathering ground. So it's a very, very important tool that I highly, highly, highly recommend. Great question about commands in the chat. There are other commands too. Restreambot is a mod in this chat. And Restreambot is the reason why when we type something on Twitch, it shows up on Sam Ash's YouTube channel right now, and it shows up on their Facebook channel. And when someone asks a question on Facebook, it showed up in this Restream chat. That's because Restream was part of this, right? So there's so many things to consider when you're talking about streaming, and I think we covered about as many as we could. Are there any more questions? Final questions, because I think we kind of covered pretty much it all. You can make your guitar sound live, even late at night. There's just so much here that we covered. How you can use your OBS, transitions, no transitions. You can, run your Pro Tools thing. You can run your console, as a digital console. You don't even need actual routing, virtual cameras. You can use reflectors so that your iPhone shows up like a source. You can use NDI if you Google that and do it yourself. You can use your iPhone as a camera with a capture card. There's so many things we learned today, and I really hope it was helpful. I'm just waiting for any more last questions before we do our final number. I see a bunch of applause, which I do appreciate. Oh, I see a question that just came in. Okay. Last question. Luke, Dr. Brown and Luke asked these will be our last two questions, okay? Dr. Brown asks, what do you think the world of music streaming will look like when in-person concerts return? I think I think it'll be a little different. I mean, I do think people will be back to work, so they won't be able to watch a concert at 4 p.m. PST, right? So you'll have to change your streaming times. This is just, now we're getting into opinions here. You'll have to think about things a little differently. The way that I'm looking at it is, this is awesome. I'm going to have a mobile streaming rig. So I'm going to bring 2 cameras with me on tour, and I'm going to go to Japan, and I'm going to play a concert in Japan, and I will, do a backstage live stream for an hour. Hey guys, you're backstage, what's up? I'm getting ready for the show. I'm practicing here's my set list. What do you guys think? I'll engage with the fans in that way. And perhaps some venues will let me live stream the concert. I'll say, listen, dude, this concert, half my audience is in America. I'm in Japan, all right? So they're not going to be not paying a ticket. This is just going to be something that I can add as a bonus, and I can record it, and everyone wins, So I'm thinking it'll be something like that. For me personally, there's no way I'm going to go, all right, I'm done streaming. It might become more ticketed because I'm back in the real world. It might be. But I think there's a way to make this fun. Also, let's say you've engaged with your audience enough. You're doing Pro Tools sessions. You're basically working on stream. They want to watch your process. Well, now when you work, you can do it. And you can, as we saw in Pro Tools, mute what you don't want them to hear, the sensitive information. Let's say you're mixing a record for Beyonce. Actually, that would be tough because even the music, that would be leaking stuff. Well, let's say you're working on an indie artist that's about to blow up, but no one knows about yet. Well, you can turn his voice off, whoever's voice, turn off the guitar solo, and then just you're mixing. And hey guys, and you can still, even after the world opens up, be working while still connecting with your audience. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the idea here. It gives you new opportunities. Now, again, these tools, Darren, or Dr. Brown, these tools are going to work for stuff that has nothing to do with streaming, right? These tools are going to work for live, master classes. Let's say Iceland goes, dude, we watched your streams. We've heard about you from Carney. We heard about you from your solo, your jazz quartet record. If we read about you in some, jazz periodical, we would love to have you do a masterclass, a music theory masterclass in Iceland. We can't really afford to fly someone round trip for $8,000, but how about we just give you that money and you just do it from your streaming setup because it's so good? Yeah, you got it. So I think it'll look like that. This is not a bad thing to build now. Now's the time to build it, in my opinion. What app do I use for manuscript paper, Luke the Musician? I use an app called, we've referred to it only once or twice during the stream. I'm trying to open up my live learns. 25th is, where are we these days in this? Oh, let's go back into let's just open this up. I'll show you. Hold on. Here we go. So I use an app called Good Notes. I think it's the best app. I went on a website, just Google this. Google what are iPad apps that are necessary for musicians? The 10 best music-based apps for musicians. And I Googled that and I found this. The 10 best, whatever things for Good Notes was in there. So was Fourscore. So was the iReal Pro, And this is my most used app on any device, I use this more than OBS. I do everything in here. Everything I learn, I chart it out in this. I mean, I use this like it's going out of style, and it ain't going out of style anytime soon. Just like that beautiful portrait I drew, which I nailed in medium mode, X264 encoding. Got it? It's actually hilarious. That's how we should end the stream. So great question. Thank you so much, Karen, for being proud of me. That's very sweet of you. This is a fun masterclass, and thank you again for making it very important and very educational. You're the best person who always gives the greatest advice. Anthony, you're so sweet. We love watching this. I've been going back and forth between YouTube and Twitch. Can't wait till I'm ready to book one of your private live stream lessons. Oh, Karen, you're the best. Can Colin? Yeah, guys, Colin Firth's going to get married on my Twitch stream. My mom asked, and she's right. Exactly. Local Twitch pals can raid my stream in real life when the world opens up. Exactly. Will you or Sam Ash post a list of relevant gear that we can get through them? Great question, Melanie. I'm sure they will. Perhaps they're still in chat. That would be a very smart idea. I can tell you this is called the Universal Audio Aux Box. What I would suggest is if you're curious about that question and you're watching this in the future, come to my Twitch channel. Come to twitch.tv/Zane Carney. Whether I'm on or not, follow if you want. If you want to come join our streams, go to the chat. It's always working. Hit Command Gear, meaning ! Gear. One last thing to say, chat is like IRC. If anyone knows about IRC, Google IRC and learn about IRC. That's what Twitch chat is, okay? So it follows commands. So hit Command Gear and it'll be up to date in there. by the time you come in. You'll be able to see the camera I use, Canon EOS R. You'll be able to see the blue microphone Kiwi that I'm speaking on. You'll be able to see the blue baby bottle mic that I use, the blue bottle over there, which is their flagship mic. You'll see the Universal Audio Apollo 8P and the Apollo Twin. You'll see the Stream Deck XL. You'll see the iPad Pro. You'll see the pencil, the good notes. It's all in that gear list. A few minor updates to be done. The Sigma 20mm f1.4 lens, this Canon 35mm f1.8 lens, you know. Streaming is, you're doing everything. It's so worth it because when you get it set up, it's so fun. And people need us right now. They need us to connect, okay? Because music ain't happening for at least 3 to 6 months in a real way. Okay, great. I'm looking at the rest of this chat. I think we are about to end things. Thank you so much, Ala Amante. My pleasure. I'm so glad to have done this. Yes. Yes. I'm reading all the jokes. I'm seeing all the stuff. Gear. Yes, it is a great resource for tons of things. Guys, what a stream this was. I hope you got something out of this. If you enjoyed this stream, there are a lot of ways to get involved. So first off, shout out to Sam Ash for making this stream happen on all their different platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube. If you want to get involved with me, though, if you have, more questions, you want to pop into my chat and you're just curious about stuff, please come on over to twitch.tv/Zane Carney. So I should write this down on here. I mean, that would be what a professional would do. They would say, here's where you can find me, okay? Where to find Zane? Where to find me, okay? So it's very simple. We're going to do this. We're going to do Twitch, okay? I'm Zane Carney, which is my name. Very easy, okay? That's an EY. Instagram, that's kind of in some ways, still my biggest platform. Zane Carney, okay? Facebook, I think it's Zane Carney Official. Yeah. Because someone else had taken Zane Carney. Guess who that person was? Me. I made a mistake. So Facebook, Zane Carney Official. What else is there on social media? I have a whole socials command. YouTube. Yeah, you're probably watching this on YouTube if you're watching this after the fact. But I'm Zane Carney on YouTube. What else is there? Oh, and then Spotify. So here's the deal. On Spotify, you're going to have two different bands. There's Zane Carney Quartet, which is my jazz project, okay? That's my improvisational music. That's my, if you were to eat cereal and you ate Captain Crunch with berries in it, the Oops All Berries is Zane Carney Quartet. This is the Oops All Berries. It's just the intense improvisational, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's the, if you're into that thing, that's where you want to go. My singer-songwriter, which is Captain Crunch with berries, still a lot of weird stuff happening in my singer-songwriter material. That you're going to Spotify search Zane Carney. Okay, you'll hear songs like Fade to Black and some new material coming out later this year. I have an album coming out on April 30th of 2021 called Alter Ego. If you want early access to that, you will go to my Patreon. So Patreon, and that's also Zane Carney. And that's a great way to get involved with the community and be a part of what we're doing here. We have a great group of patrons. I just started it like 2 months ago. And I'm really excited about what we're building there. So that's going to be where you can get involved with more of the community, get that free Discord, special channel, etc. I'm not sure where else you can find me. I mean, you can just Google my name. Oh, and I have a Discord, which you're going to want to come. You're going to want to join that Discord. It is where it's at. So just Twitch chat. Come to my Twitch chat and type in !Discord. And you can just easily come and invite yourself essentially to that party. So that's everything about me. I have nothing else to say. This was an incredibly fun stream. I had a great time. I hope we all learned a lot. I hope we learned, a couple things. I hope we learned, why am I giving this masterclass? I hope it became clear throughout it. I hope we learned why you might want to become a live streaming musician. If you have concerns about it or think it's cheesy or dumb, I hope we answer those questions. and we answered the W of where. Where do I do this? In my bedroom, my living room? Where do I do this? Okay. I have roommates. Where do I do it? Well, we answered that, I think. Then we got to the how, which was how do we create an inviting environment with audio, cameras, EQ, compression, all that stuff, routing. 2, how do we make our tech work for us? How do we make my laptop sing as much as it can? What's the right setting for me in OBS, etc.? And then 3, how do we connect with our audience? Through maybe alerts, through creative ways of playing music on stream. So I think we did a pretty good job of covering all the bases in this debut and only ever how to be a successful live stream musician masterclass. I want to thank everyone on Twitch, everyone on YouTube, everyone on Facebook who watched this live and is now watching it on a VOD. I want to thank you. I want to thank Sam Ash for partnering with me and coming up with, the idea we kind of came up with this idea together. We thought this is a really, really important thing to cover. And I want to thank you all for viewing and coming and popping over to my Twitch, popping over to my Instagram, coming to a concert when the world opens up. And until then, I hope to see you on Veeps, on my concerts there. I hope to see you on my email list. All this stuff can be found by just going to zanecarney.com. Very easy to find. I have a website. I forgot to list my website. Go to zanecarney.com. You'll find everything you need. And thank you so much for making this a wonderful stream. I'm going to send you off with an ending screen, and you're going to hear the debut single off of my upcoming album, Alter Ego, coming out April 30th on Arenda Records. Zane Carney Quartet, Alter Ego. Here's a song called Brain Freeze, and I'll see you all on stream very, very soon.